All right, I'd like to call to order. At this time, I'd like to ask someone to do the invocation, someone do the pledge. We'll have we'll let Nanette do the invocation, and then I'll share with my fellow parish council member, and he can do, Mr. Tabor can do the pledge.
The Holy Spirit, amen. Thank you, Lord, as we gather here together today, looking at the budgets, looking at ways to make things good for our community, looking for the ways we can help our people as far as finances, as far as the economy of our entire community. Guide us through this process. Give us the wisdom we need to do what's right for our people and our community. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God,
Indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you so much, Councilwoman Ms. Cook, and thank you, Councilman Tabor. We welcome you to today's budget review. This meeting is a departmental budget review session. If you wish to address the council, a green card should be, a green card or a blue card?
We got prizes.
Okay. I just got back from vacation, so I'll make sure I got it right. Green card should be filled out and given to the council clerk, Ms. Veronica Williams, who's seated all the way to my left. I'm requesting that the first row to my left be used for media only, and the right side of the auditorium be reserved for the budget and finance staff. I'm also requesting that anyone who approaches the podium, please state your name and title for the official record. Lastly, food and drinks are not allowed in the auditorium, and all cell phones or electronic devices should be silenced from this point moving forward. This meeting is to address matters related only to the proposed budget document. Please, we request that all other matters be specific to city parish government business, and that it be directed to administration, and that it not be addressed at this public forum. The budget document has been posted on our website at LafayetteLA.gov under the Finance tab. Public comment will be held immediately following each budget review on matters related to the specific department's budget. All council members are reminded that 3 possible actions could be taken during the hearings. A council member may propose changing the budget by offering one of the following. 1, a general amendment. That's when the entire council agrees on a proposed amendment. Option 2 would be a separate amendment when a council member objects to a budget change. Or 3, a council member may also choose to mark an item for wrap-up discussion, which allows time to receive additional information. Note, you will also make a request for information from the director/agency head, and following the receipt or the review of the information, you may choose to come back later to perform one of the following 3. Council members Josh Carlson will unable to attend today's review. As parish finance chair, I will be presiding officer. For joint meetings, I will alternate with city finance chair Liz Hebert on presiding. Council announcements. Not seeing any council announcements at this time. We'll move to budget review items by department. First one up is City Court. Ms. Toops, opening comments and remarks.
You have a chart in front of you from the budget division that gives you a history of City Court, and you'll see that there are no new employees added in this budget. And that's this chart here that you guys got.
Okay. All right. City Court will begin operating pages 107 and 108. We'll start there.
Down at the bottom, last line on 107.
Line at the bottom, 107. Anything? Not seeing. Let's go to 108. Judge Saloon, do you hear anything you want to, that you know of, or anything you want to let us know, changes wise, or introduce yourself, let us know what you got going on.
Douglas Loon, Judge, Lafayette City Court. First time I get to also introduce our new judge.
Go ahead, introduce yourself for the,
Michelle Odenay, Lafayette City Court Judge, Division A.
okay?
I did have some introductory comments, but I'd wait for the appropriate time. We did have a request for the budget, asked that there's some difference in numbers, and we asked that it be moved to wrap up to give us more of an opportunity to continue discussions with the city administration. And that is pretty much, except for some other information, I don't know how much time you want me to, I don't have much time needed, but you want me to just tell you what I wanted to tell you?
Yeah,
All right, then we ask as far as the budget goes, those items that are listed, we ask that it be moved to wrap up, give us more time to continue our discussion with the city.
we'll go ahead and duly note that. Do you know what exactly item you want to move to wrap
They're
up?
the items listed that were short of what was recommended by the mayor.
We don't have those before us.
I'm sorry, then I will,
Just for the record, can you make
For
a
the-
note of what item
absolutely.
or whatever it is? And I see
And
Councilman Andy knocking
you're
his-
requesting that these items that you're about to review be placed into the budget.
into the budget, but for wrap-up, I don't know
For
I don't know the proper procedure.
I
so
got you. Is it anything to do with operating, or should I just wait till when I go to
This is
capital?
all this is all operating.
Okay, now's the time to do it. Councilman Andy knocking, I'm assuming that's where you're going with it?
Amendment,
Okay.
moving forward.
I can't understand.
I didn't hear him because his.
He wants to go ahead and move forward and offer
As
the,
soon as we hear the amendment, I'd like to
I'm
offer it
not
as a
sure what you're
separate
talking
amendment. In
about.
other words, we'll discuss it at wrap-up and vote on it then. That way you can get some more information and give everybody more information.
he just wants to take
A
the
general
items.
amendment, we would go through without discussion and just be voted on as part of the budget. A separate amendment means it gives them time and the administration time to discuss it.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
That's
From
what-
your budget, Mr. Chair, if
Yeah.
you start at item 60,000, 60000,
What page is that, Chief?
that would be on, I believe,
Page 108.
108?
Under building maintenance.
from that point down to item 7800.
So starting at building maintenance, 6,000 or 6, whatever, 000?
Well, it's there, those are all part of the items for further discussion. Those items from 60,000 all the way down
To
788, and you'll,
Okay.
there are additional items that are not before you that is part of the numbers we're still meeting with the administration on. So we'll have those items as well before wrap-up.
Ms. Veronica, how do you want me to state that? Or what he just said is good, we just notate
Yeah,
that?
if we can get the information as to what you are requesting or what changes you are requesting in these items, and what we'll do is we'll set it for a separate amendment because they don't have it yet before them.
Correct.
So we could discuss it further at wrap-up as a separate amendment if there's no further discussion on it.
We're still working on those numbers, I'm sorry. We're still working on those numbers with the administration, that's why we don't have them today.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
So the judge wasn't here for this morning's session, I don't believe, so he doesn't have the benefit of the conversation we had, that this is our only joint budget review meeting. Normally, we would have had a couple of ones during the whole budget process, but now is the time to really provide the information that you want to provide jointly, and if they're going to consider it as a separate amendment at wrap-up, that's fine, but I think that you need to give them whatever information you want to provide them, so that way they'll have it.
Well, I can give you this information. The budget that was requested by the court is the total number of expenses that the court has believes to be the reasonable and unavoidable. This is a little different budget than we've done in the past, and what we've included in this budget are items that have been expended for the operation of the court. We submitted it, but we've been in discussion with the administration. We just haven't looked at those numbers to narrow them down to give an exact amount. I'm not privy to what y'all have. If you have the requested amounts by the court, then that would outline what was requested by the court. I don't know what the council receives, so I'll have to get you that.
The council has what was published and posted on the internet as the proposed budget.
As the recommended budget. That's correct. So what we're looking at is roughly $280,000 in expenses that the court requested from the administration. For a lot of reasons, we haven't had the opportunity to further discuss those items and to narrow them down if that's possible. So that's where we're kind of at. My request to you then would be to, there's about $267,000. I could go through each item if you want to know what we're requesting that wasn't covered, but I'm asking you, again, I don't know the procedure. The easiest thing for us to be able to do is finish our discussion with the administration and present you all the information. If we have to attend both meetings to get it done, then that's just how, if that's easier to be able to do that. I have no problems doing that. I understand.
I think that's probably the right way to go about it.
In those items,
Hold on, Mr. Nakim, I'm gonna put your mic hot again. Go ahead.
in those items that you pointed out, highlighted, from 66000 down to the 78000, how many items are in there that are in discussion?
1, 2, 3,
All of
4,
them?
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14,
So
15
each-
items.
each line item.
In addition to 2 items that weren't part of the recommendation.
Each line item is in discussion. The other 2 items, they're part of operation and maintenance also?
Yes, sir. There's some changes to the budget that are forthcoming, both revenue and expense.
Why don't we list it then as each item to be in wrap-up as a separate amendment to be addressed individually? We're going to have to, because we don't have anything there to base it on.
To base it on, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So I think that's what we're going to have to do. I don't know of any other way to get
And
around that.
we'll have some revenue adjustments to the city as
I'll
well.
yield the floor to Ms. Cook.
Okay,
I apologize for
Ms.
this.
Cook, you have the floor.
Yeah, I was just going to say, out of respect for the court, if he could send this information to us
Before.
now, as soon as he has it, and basically kind of like, since the meetings are very condensed, this is different this year, between now and wrap-up, we would have that information, so when we get to wrap-up, we can evaluate it at that point. I mean, I don't know how else to since we're not
you
meeting in
will have-
between, that would be the most logical for any department that comes up and wants to, offer us more information, so.
I will
I don't know
provide you all of the information. If I do it today, it's premature, and the numbers would change. We're in discussions with the administrations on some of the line items, and with everything that's going on, y'all have all kind of things on y'all's plate, and we've just not been able to get those final numbers to submit to the council. And I could give you numbers today, but those are probably not the final numbers. And if we can handle it in the fashion y'all have suggested, we will get you the numbers well in advance of the wrap-up.
First and most important person to get it to is Ms. Toops.
She will have it.
So it sounds like to me that we don't have a separate amendment, we don't have a general amendment. What we have is a request for additional information at wrap-up, which you may then turn into some type of amendment. So
Yes.
this will be a request for additional information
At wrap-up.
that we'll handle at wrap-up, but we certainly want the information before that, so we can disseminate that to you guys.
Okay, that makes sense.
Can you make that wrap-up then?
And Judge, the wrap-up date is August 24th at 2 o'clock for the joint councils.
And I guess we want to make sure that y'all and administration and the council and Lord, we're all on the same page. Like, to make sure we understand what we're looking at and making sure administration's good with it, making sure that we're good with it before anybody offers it as a general amendment.
And I'm not asking, and I prefer this way because I wasn't asking for an amendment at this point because we
Correct.
haven't got to that point yet where we have a better grasp of the numbers. So
Sounds good.
wrap-up is fine. We'll get you those numbers. It's both expense and revenue. So
Okay.
we have a lot of, the administration has requested the transfer of some fees that the court has retained over the last 20 years. There's a significant balance that has been saved, and we're going through the transition of how to transfer those things, and then thereafter there'll be some monthly deposits that'll be sent, but we don't have those numbers. We have current numbers, but we don't have future numbers, so we're having some projections we have to make. So I prefer, if it meets with y'all's approval and the mayor's approval, that we just do it on a wrap-up.
Yeah.
We'll get you those numbers.
That's what we're going to do, Judge. We're going to move forward with that. Councilman Lazard, you got anything, or you good? You good? Okay, cool deal. All right, we're still on 108. Everybody's good on 108? If we are, let's move to Capital, page 303. Anything on Capital? What's that? Hold on, Andy.
The city IT has determined that some of our items are obsolete, and that was the estimate that was obtained by the IT department, and I believe recommended by the mayor, and those are going to be changed out. I forget the technical term. They've reached their life expectancy, and they need to be changed in order to keep up with the city's equipment. And it's also a good time to mention the administration has asked us to be a part of the 10-10-10 initiative, which we're excited about, and gives us an opportunity to work with our online payment system that we've had in place over a year. And we also, as some of you may know, working with the police department, trying to go paperless on some items. So it's a good time to be a part of all those programs.
Cool deal. All right, not seeing anything, any questions on 303. We'll go to the Manning table on 327. $327, City Court at the bottom. Anything?
Mr. Chair, on
Yes,
that
sir.
Manning table, there are some requests. There is a judicial pay increase that went into effect in July statewide that hasn't been added in. Ms. Toop's department has to do some math for us, and I haven't given them the exact numbers yet because we're waiting on some answers, but we'll have that.
You'll have that as part of the other wrap-up.
Part of the wrap-up.
Okay. Ms. Toops, you aware of that? Yeah, you getting?
I believe our budget manager is aware of that.
Okay. All right, I don't see anything from anybody here. Any closing remarks, wrap-up or
I
anything?
turn to the judge.
All right, thank you.
Judge Salou mentioned that there would be a transfer of funds, our civil fees that have been retained by city court that will be transferred to LCG. These funds have accrued for the past 21 years and have been in the sole custody of city court. Just as a matter of prudent exercise, I would recommend that we probably need an accounting, a forensic accounting of this because it's been accruing for so many years, just so we're all dealing with the same numbers and the same expenses, so we're all on the same page. So I would hope that the council would consider this request.
Okay. Yep, I'm good with that. All right,
Thank you.
thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Any comments from the public? Okay. We'll now move to the wonderful, wonderful Department of Drainage. Ms. Toops, opening comments.
Drainage begins on page 182. We should have, and we do have, a chart from our budget department. You can see that there is some additional people in the budget this year.
All right.
Some of that, I'm sorry, I lost my place.
That's
Kearney, was any
$5.
of that due to the reorganization, or is it all new in drainage? So some of the positions are because of shift in some of the public works type divisions around, and a new director's executive secretary that was previously
Community development.
in community development, that he did not have one before, so that person We did not lay off anybody with that reorganization, but we did shift people around, so she was moved to his division. Sorry
let-
about that.
Okay. Brian Smith, introduce yourself, give opening comments before we start going page to page. Any highlights, good things, anything that you see, or if you have any amendments on the floor or something.
Sure. Brian Smith, Director of Drainage. Opening comments, I guess, thank y'all for having us again today. Some of the one of the biggest changes is what Lori was mentioning. Basically, it's some housekeeping from the reorg where we're moving some staff from the operations side of Public Works that impacts directly or supports the Drainage Department as well as Traffic, Roads, and Bridges, the streets section. So that's going to continue, and I think there's 5 employees that will be transferring into the Drainage Department.
Okay. I guess the question that I would have is, have we hired any more people, or some of those people transferring, have we added to our drainage crew? I remember there was so many crews that we had, and we had made cuts over the years in the past, and we only had so many drainage crews. Have we beefed up our drainage crew as far as for response on requests for services, or is this just more administration stuff that we're getting?
This is more the administrative side. Dispatchers, we have a tool-room attendant that takes care of our needs. Last year, if you recall, we did add positions, and we are filling those. Some of them are hard to fill, but we're working hard at it, trying to get that done.
Okay, good. Glad to hear. All right, we'll start on page 182. 182. Moving to 183. Councilman Lazard.
Kevin, I'm not sure where this falls, but I have a couple of questions. It's to an update on where we are with the funds that we recently allocated, the $20 million or whatever, toward drainage. You don't have that available today. An update on those projects.
Yeah, I didn't bring that with me today.
Okay. Can you forward it to us between now and, Yeah.
Wrap up.
An update on those projects. One of the things was the purchase of some additional trucks and equipment, flusher trucks and equipment and what have you. If you could just let us know where we stand with that. Have we received those yet, or are they up and running, or what the status of it is?
I can answer that one. We did receive one of the flusher trucks. It was available for immediate delivery. The other one has to be built, basically. And we also received one grade all, which is
It's used in the unincorporated area in case it fixes the gravel roads. We have a bunch of them, right? Grid all.
yeah, we use it. We'll drop it everywhere. But we did receive the grade all as well.
And just an update on the projects.
Some of the other projects I can get back with y'all on that.
Okay. Because we had gotten kind of a generalized description earlier that it was citywide drainage projects, right? And I don't think I ever saw a detailed list of what those projects were.
Yeah, they can get you that at wrap up. I mean, right here on page 182, 83, they're
Yeah.
just kind of going over operations right now, expenses.
Yeah, I just wanted to
Yeah.
get it in before.
Yeah, let's just make note, please get back with Councilman Lazard and the council on his projects or projects and as a whole that y'all talked about before for the city council. Okay. And you can complete all the projects on the parish side would be great. Just-
After you complete all the ones on the city
Yeah,
side.
you're right, yeah, you're right. Make sure that grid all gets to Adam Lane, you know what I'm saying? All right, anything on 182, 183? The only thing I have a question going back on 182, line item 71019-0, cooling maintenance and earth and inspect, we budgeted 250,000? Or that's expenses. We never had that before, huh?
That is a new item. And what we're wanting to do is implement drone technology to start
Going over the coolies,
inspecting coolies, checking for blockages,
beaver dams.
debris, dams.
Okay, so we never done that before, so we're adding that in here?
That's something new.
Okay,
It's, instead of walking them, it's going to be more efficient, we think, and also we'll better capture more data.
okay. I'm good with that. All right, move on to page 184. 184.
You could put it up on the screen. I don't have it.
Laurie, promotional costs, again, is that something that we budgeting with the hopes of hiring? Are we using any of that for pay raises?
Promotional costs are for current positions that he's planning some sort of promotion, change in operations. Maybe somebody's moving from operator 1 to operator 2, those type things. But it would be for current employees. It's not an across-the-board raise.
Okay.
It's a raise based on a position and circumstances, whether they take that position and those additional job duties.
What happens when those promotional costs for whatever reason doesn't get used? Does that go back to the general fund? It goes
No,
back to,
it stays. It stays in the designated fund that it is originally. So in this case, this money is in the drainage fund. If those promotion costs don't come to fruition for whatever reason, that money remains in the drainage fund and is available for
Anything.
use
Okay,
in drainage
all right,
areas.
thank you. That's
If
all I
I
have.
can add, that's for the apprenticeship program for our operator 4 positions.
Okay.
4-step program as they
Process to get 'em up.
excel. Yes.
Okay, no problem. Anybody? 184. 184 going once, going twice. So page 185. $185. All right. Let's move to 5-year capital, page 282. 5-year capital, 282.
And if you look at your agenda, it has the details of which projects you should be referring to. It has the number of the items, 47, 70, 77, and 78.
Say that again, Ms. Williams. 47?
47, 70, 77, and 78.
Okay.
This is parish 5-year capital, parish-wide.
Okay.
Hey, what you said, 47 and 70?
Said 47, 70, 77, and 78.
Correct.
Page 282 and 283. Anybody? Okay, let's go to 282, so we'll go to 288.
Page 288 is city drainage, and that's where you'll see number 70, 77, and 78.
Anybody? Okay, not seeing anybody hit their button yet, so let's move on to capital, pages 311 and 312. $311 and $312, capital. On page 312. Not seeing any questions right here on 312. We'll go ahead and go to the Manning table, pages 337 and 338. $337. Hmm. And 338. Okay, I don't see anything here. Any closing remarks, Mr. Brown?
Just thank y'all for y'all consideration on our budget, and look forward to another good year of working with everybody.
Absolutely, appreciate all the calls and calls back, and what you do for all of us. Mr. Lazard, you have the mic.
Just a quick question. We spoke some time ago, I know we're doing modeling and we're using UL to help us with that and all that, but have we given any serious consideration to, Mayor, we had talked about doing a comprehensive drainage study, if you will, for the entire parish? Can you give us an update on that and where we are with that?
Yes, we talk, thank you for asking. We talk about this at least every other day with different stakeholders. Okay, so we meet once a month with the parish-wide administrations, sometimes more, and that's with the mayors, administrations, the civil engineers, in-house, and the contractual ones. We brought in UL, we brought in our planning commission, our NPO, and any other stakeholder that makes sense to bring in. But long story short, where we want to end is a living and breathing continually updated model for our watershed. Keep in mind, our primary watershed in our parish is the Tesh Vermilion, which does go further than our Lafayette parish, but we can only control what we can control. The Mermitau to the west is also an important watershed, but right now our main focus is Tesh Vermilion, affects more homes. And in a perfect situation, I just had a meeting with the mayors separately yesterday on this exact issue. There's really two groups of projects that would affect this model. One would be public projects, the other one will be private projects. Public projects are really easy to manage, and I haven't even talked to Chad. I don't know if he's in here. Chad, there you go. So I didn't even brief Chad on this. I need to talk to you after this. And public projects are real easy because we do them in-house, and each of the municipalities do them in-house. So if there's a drainage project that, especially ones that affect the watershed, then we would want an obligation that goes into this model. Preliminarily speaking, not committed to this. UL has agreed in principle to serve as kind of a centralized depository of this one model. But these projects to be inserted into this continually updated model. Now that's wonderful for public projects. That's going to speed up time for all of our municipalities if we can get this done, and we will. It'll help save costs because you don't have to duplicate engineering. It's there. There's also some laws on the book that if it's publicly funded, it's public information anyway, so why not combine your resources? You consolidate your resources, you consolidate your efforts, you get more for less. We all know that. The other part is the private developments. Now, this will be a little bit more tricky, but very much doable. So, and what I mean by private developments, let's say a neighborhood comes up, and Lafayette, for example, has a requirement that you improve drainage. Have to improve it, generally speaking, by 15% for development. That's way, if you see development out there, that's a good thing because we're actually improving drainage. So ideally, what we would do is we'd have the private developments when they get their permit, for example, when the engineering at some point, and all 6 municipalities are different, but at some point when the engineering is complete, we're able to capture that engineering and insert that into the model too. So now you have public projects and private projects inserted into this grand modular model that's constantly changing, constantly improving, and the hopes is that every parish in the watershed eventually gets on board. We can't control that. We'll lead the way, and it'll be a great thing. But you're spot on. We're all on the same page on this. This is going to save municipalities money, and quite frankly, it'll probably save developers money too. It's a little trickier, though, with the private sector. We don't have that ironed out yet, but that's what we're working on.
Because we're spending a ton of money, so we'll make sure that we're targeting those resources,
Yep.
where they need to be.
let me maybe put your mind at ease too, on the, because you're right. We need to be cautious, exactly what you're saying. And that's kind of what spurred this working model. And you and I talked about it, so I think we're on the same page. So any data that we have, any engineering that we've compiled over the years, even before all of us were sworn in, if we have that, that's available for us to use. Don't get too excited because it wasn't that much when we took office, just being honest with you, okay? But we made some pretty big strides collectively, not only here, but the other municipalities too, communicating a lot more. But the idea is to do exactly what you said. If we're going to spend money on a project, let's make sure that we're optimizing the science. And I'm going to tell you, when we get to where we need to get to, it'll put councils and on all 6 municipalities in a better position to further develop their regulatory rules. Meaning, right now we have a pretty generic standard. You got to improve drainage 15%. Well, that might not make sense on some topography, and other topography it may not. So, or it may. But anyway, we're not there yet, but we're getting close to that model.
Agreed.
And UL is a great partner.
Agreed. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, any public comment?
No, sir.
Oh, hold on a second. I have a very important council member that hit his button. Mr. Gilbo.
I'm glad you recognized me. Thank you, sir.
Almost.
Before I ask my question, I do want to say to the big three, that's Chad, Warren, and Brian, fantastic job. It's unbelievable the work that has been done by those 3 gentlemen and their entire staff. Congratulations. Now, for you, Mr. Mayor. No, but this is not bad. I seem to recall last year at this same time, we were talking in the budget hearings about it, maybe bringing on a hydrolysis.
Yep.
Has that happened, and what's the status?
No, that happened quickly after that discussion, so he's been on board in, what's that?
Mr. AB was asking me what a hydraulics was.
That's all right, I'm not an engineer either. I had to ask that too when he first came up. So what do they do? Because I'm not an engineer. No, that happened, probably during budget process, if not right afterwards. But, and there's even talk, if it makes sense, to bring on another one if we need to, because we have a lot of projects that are about to, as you can see in the budgets that we've proposed. It might make sense to bring on another one. These are contractual, not even employees, contractual services, contractual resources for us. And it's the same theory as the grant writer coordinator. We don't want to invest in long-term mandated costs in salaries and benefits if we don't have to.
I guess my only concern with all the projects that we have, and Mr. Lazar talking about the planning and you talking about it, so we don't see a need for a permanent staff position even going forward?
Not at this point, but I do appreciate you being receptive to that. And if it comes to that point, I promise we'll bring it up. But
yeah.
Right now, we seem to be able to handle the capacity, and if we need to bring on another one, we will.
And I guess the other thing would be, we're hiring contracted services for this. Could we best do it with an in-house expert to do it at maybe less cost?
At this time, no. We do have an in-house expert. I find, where's Fred? I don't know where he's at. See, I'm giving you props, man. So he's our check and balance over there. I love this conversation. Just know we're open to it. The administration's open to it. Any of the council members, want to further discuss that. At this time, we don't see the need for that, but that may change. This is just like that model is going to be constantly evolving. So would our process as well.
And again, Fred, you do a fantastic job as well, and I sometimes think that maybe you need more help, but I trust you. Good.
Thank you.
Okay. Now we got that out of the way. Any public comments?
No, sir.
All right, we're going to now move to traffic, roads, and bridges. At this time, Ms. Laurie Toops, you got any opening comments? But we'll start basically on page 190 through 196.
Yes, and the director will talk to you more about the reorganization and the shifting of 51 people into this department, primarily transit and the parking program.
Let me actually just reorg. That came in front of the council. We voted on that?
This is a shifting of people in the budget process.
Oh, okay. I didn't know, like, if it's a reorganization like we did with Public Works and we move things around, we had to vote on it. So I didn't know. This was done through administration?
No, this is being done through the budget.
Through you?
Through the budget.
Through you.
Sure.
All right,
Well,
go
I
ahead.
think, Warren's always was involved in transit. It just makes sense to continue having him over transit. It's
I'm
his-
good. I just wanted to see what y'all was
his
going to say.
level of expertise.
I just wanted to see where you was. Warren, introduce yourself. Get started on any highlights or anything you want to let us know.
Bridges. That is the biggest change in the budget. Parking and transit is coming back under me. I'm excited about it. I think there's a lot of technology innovations that we did in both arenas. And so just excited to be over them again,
Cool. You still in charge of speed bumps?
unfortunately.
All right. I'll just make sure if you were still happy about that.
You already got me scared up here. Y'all talking about grass and revenue accounts. I think I'm
Hey,
about to get it.
absolutely. Now's the time.
Yeah.
Cool deal. Well, thank you. Appreciate it. We'll start operating expenses, council, on page 190. Councilman Nakane, you have the floor.
Hello, Warren, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Going down to the bottom under roads and bridges, the last section there, under total fund 101, the 2605124, the roadside vegetation maintenance, contractual service, interstate grass cutting, and the project GOMO. I notice we have about a $240,000 increase in that. Could you kind of give us an overview of that?
Yeah, absolutely. So to start off, I'll say one of the things that through the administration, Mayor President and Sidra, is that we have declared war on grass in our parish. So if there's a blade of grass that needs to be cut in our parish, we are going to cut it. So the first one, the roadside vegetation maintenance. Roadside ditch grass in the parish is something that we spray, right, to keep the weeds down to where we can get away with cutting it less. Well, there was no money in the budget to cut state roads. So we have taken on the task of taking on state roads. Well, the best way to manage that is to spray state roads also. So the increase in roadside vegetation maintenance is for that. It's to spray with a permit, DOTD roadways, so that we don't have to cut them as much.
Do you expect any reimbursement from DOTD?
No, only the reimbursement that.
I expected that answer,
yeah.
I just was curious, okay.
And so every time I talk to DOTD, it feels like they're getting less and less and less for district operations.
But it needs to be done regardless, so.
Either we're going to do it or nobody's going to do it. We've come to that conclusion.
Pull the big boy pants and get it done.
That's right. The interstate grass cutting, we actually changed the spec this year. We had spec 5 inches, and we moved it to 3 inches, and we're trying to cut it a lot more times per year.
Yeah.
Because what a big gateway that is to our city, the interstate. And so.
Now, this is done out privately, or we do that in-house, the grass
No.
cutting the interstates?
No, it's done out by a contractor.
By contractor?
Yes.
Are you seeing an increase from them because of fuel costs and whatever?
So
Any
they're
chance out of curiosity?
contractually obligated to do it for their bid price,
All
but the increased cost is how many cycles we're getting.
Yeah.
So
And
they're
the,
cutting it more times.
And the bids are every year, a yearly basis?
I think it's year with a year to extend,
Okay.
or maybe a 2-year option, so
Okay.
every 2 to 3 years.
Please continue, thank you.
And a side note to that, we started cutting the Evangeline Thruway also. We try to cut that weekly, a finished cut, and so
lot of
that's
grass.
also looking nice.
A lot of grass.
And then GOMO, as you
Now,
can.
that is both north and south, the throughway?
Yes,
Oh, wow, that
Yeah.
is a lot of grass.
yeah, we cut all the way from Gloria Switch to South Park.
Okay, thank you.
And
Project Como.
GOMO, as you can imagine, when GOMO started, the way we competitively bid for every piece of right-of-way we had, just cataloging all the areas that we cut was a challenge. And so we're constantly adding areas, we're constantly adding our game, and so the increased cost is to cover the additional areas.
Okay.
I'm going to tell you, GOMO's been real great in my area, in my district. Big fan of that.
They seem to be very efficient in what they're doing. They were cutting my boulevard today. Thank you.
There's a lot of work. There's a
there
lot of
is.
work going through
And
there.
it's growing fast this year.
Yeah, no doubt,
Yeah, thank you.
no doubt.
Appreciate the explanation.
Yes, sir.
Hey, on the same page right below that, so we're not, we're not using any of the sheriff crews anymore? We're doing strictly GOMO and we're doing it in-house?
We use no sheriff crews to cut grass.
Okay, we
but,
used to, right?
We used to, yes.
Right.
But there is a sheriff crew for litter that we're very thankful for.
Okay, all right, I just noticed that. Okay, Mr. Lazar, on page 190, you good?
Yeah, at the bottom of page 190, yeah.
Okay.
On GOMO, First of all, whoever's doing the intersection of the Thruway and Willow now, the medians, it's much improved.
Okay.
Whoever's doing that.
Great.
With the exception of the ditches, okay? The Super One side of that intersection, the ditch area, nothing's done there at all. I don't know if that falls within the realm or not.
Okay, I'll check it.
Where there's the, right there where the new Little Caesars is, right there.
Okay.
I mean, you know, the median is fine, but the grass in the ditches,
Okay. Gotcha.
I think we caught 2 sacks of frogs the other night, right there.
Right
So
there?
don't cut it right now.
Sure you want me to? Yeah.
Don't cut it right now.
Okay.
Frogs are $2 a frog, clean right now.
Make an ordinance, you take the frogs, you cut the grass.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm gonna come to your neck of the woods now, okay?
Tell you what, cut the grass after I catch the frogs, and I'll give you some frog leaves.
So on the issue of GOMO, I'm looking at the numbers. Can you explain the rationale for that? We're going from current projected $310,000, actual at 436, and a 29% increase, yet we only have $150,000 projected, you know, from 2021, but we're looking at going up to $400,000 for 21-22. Are we taking on some additional areas or what?
So maybe Lori could explain the projections, but that the 310,000 is what we anticipate to spend this year. And it's going to take every bit of that and the money that I have in my budget that is excess to pay all the contractors to cut all the grass we're going to cut.
And this is parish-wide?
The GOMO is parish-wide, yes.
Okay,
But predominantly, most of the areas are in the city.
okay. So I'm just the 30% increase, Lori. Is that because we're taking on additional areas, or are we doing more frequent cuttings, or what?
It's both.
I'm just,
It's, we are taking on additional areas. Every time I get a complaint about an area, we add it to the rotation. There's only so much grass my guys can cut, and they're working sun up to sundown. And there's no doubt that we've make every effort we can to keep the grass cut, because I think that's the one thing we can do to show this community that we care, and that we care how we look, and we're cognizant of how we look. And so we are absolutely taking on additional areas. We are cutting every week when it's possible, and it's been raining a lot this year. And so we're scratching, clawing, biting to cut every piece of grass we have out there.
and if you're talking about in the city, like city right-of-way adjacent to sidewalks or whatever, should that also include edging?
Yes.
Yes.
Because that's not being done.
So
The edging part and trash pickup or whatever, when they cut the grass, you know, you're just shooting trash all over the place.
Let me just chime in real quick. Hey, this is a good dialogue, and I said this last year, I'll say it again, and I'll say it as many times as we can. Not only anybody on this council, anybody in this audience, anybody listening, if there's an area that you have a concern with, whether it's edging, because you know how I feel, I share in the councilman's opinion on that. If you see an area, when in doubt, let us know. If you see an area that's in need, let me or the CAO know, and we'll address it. I say when in doubt because sometimes it's private property, we can't get on there. Most of the time we can. Most of the time it is a public right-of-way or something or whatnot. So all of this is a good discussion because that's the standard that we want. So we appreciate that, and I think that's why you're seeing the increase in the budget. And quite frankly, I'm looking at our chief of staff, and it may be too low, our projection, but I have all the confidence in the world that you'll get it done.
And I think another point is that the grass cutting companies are required to edge, they're required to line trim, they're required to pick up litter. And one of the things we've been talking about internally is how we do a little better job on inspecting jobs.
Right.
Because the reality is you're going to have to hold people accountable to those specs if you expect them to do it. And so we're starting to have internal dialogue about how to up our game on inspection.
I just wanted to make sure that that was included as part of the deal.
It absolutely is.
Okay.
Okay.
Mr. Lazard, to clear up some of the differences in the numbers, so in the actual, that's actual as of April 30th.
Right.
So that would be November through April, not really peak grass growing time. The actual today, we just pulled today's number, is $233,000. So during the last few months while grass was growing, they were out there mowing. So obviously, our projected amount, we usually try to work with the department to get the projected amounts, but in this case, we estimated it based on the April actual, so we missed it right there. The projection is probably going to be closer to the budgeted amount of 300.
Okay.
And not the estimate.
That
Okay.
clarifies it. Thank you.
All right. Councilman Rubin, you on page 190? Let's try to stick to the page. Let's not jump around. Please.
All right. First thing, I want to thank the administration because,
You will.
like, Sidra knows I got a certain route I pass home in the mornings, and I'll pass through certain parks, and I'll call her and let her know, you know. So I think you guys have been doing a good job, like in the Hyman Park area and Paul Davis. But we got the King Center area that has been lacking in the King Center area. And yesterday when we was at the Bayonne Park, you know, the grass was kind of long, and I just would like to see something, you know, those areas, try to concentrate on them, 'cause like the walking track at King Center, it was looking kind of rough the other day. So if we can try to take care, especially where people are walking and whatnot, you know what I'm saying? You have these elderly people out there doing their thing, but other than that, you know, when I've been calling, I've been getting some good responses from you guys, and I appreciate that. So I figure now that we're talking about it right now, they're going to be looking up to stuff. Thank you.
All right, Councilman Lewis.
Warren, okay, I understand it's easy
Hit
to,
your
let him finish. Let him finish.
You good?
Y'all ready?
Yeah, go ahead.
I understand how it's easy to identify parks, public right-of-ways to have GOMO. How do and who, for instance, when it comes to residential, GOMO takes care of that too?
So if you're, I believe you're asking about properties that are in violation, private
Yes,
property that are.
yes, yes.
Yeah, so that's handled by the EQ Division of Public Works.
Oh, okay. But, I mean, GOMO has something to do with that as well?
So part of the GOMO system, we revamped the way that they issue violations and get private properties cut. So yes,
So the answer is yes.
the answer is yes.
Okay,
A
and
GOMO system is part of what they use to do their job, but the section in charge of that is the EQ section of Public Works.
so how does that work? It gets bid out if someone is in violation of property owned or adjudicated property. If they are in violation, you guys bid it out?
Yeah, so-
Okay, if y'all bid it out, does that make the process even longer to get the grass cut? I'm only asking.
So my understanding is there's a multi-step process to getting private property cut that's in violation.
Mm-hmm.
The first is you have to send a letter that notifies them, that gives them an opportunity to cut it.
Mm-hmm.
If they don't respond to the letter and it's not cut, then it goes up for bid on the GOMO system. And the bid, I'm not sure how long they open it for. We could ask Bess, who's here. I think it's maybe 3 to 5 days that it's open. And then once the low bid is awarded, then the contractor has that's his notice to proceed to cut the grass, and then there's a deadline on when the job has to be completed by.
So it'd be Beth I would need to speak with to see if, or when she comes up, if that's more efficient and we saving money that way.
So, yeah, Bess would be
Okay,
the best one
Bess
to
would
talk
be
to.
good.
And,
Okay.
and that's under Public Works, Mr. Lewis, which
Yes,
is the
okay.
next department.
Right.
So Bess could
With
answer
chair,
that.
okay, okay, thank you.
I guess his long question was, part of your GOMO budget includes those properties?
No.
No, it goes
No.
into
The EQ
public.
budget.
I got
Okay,
you.
right, thanks.
Okay. Mayor President.
Thank you. So, yeah, I'm glad Councilman Lewis went before I did. So that's a good example of 3 different areas where we're cutting grass. There's probably some more. Councilman Rubin, thank you for your teamwork. I'm serious. That helps out so much. So I extend that to all 10 of you and anyone listening. When in doubt, you see grass growing, let the administration know, let me know, let the CAO know, and we'll address it. Most of the time we can help. Sometimes we can't if it's on certain areas. MLK is technically through the park department, but I want you to note that down, Warren, if you can. CAO took care of it, see, right then and there. The reason why I'm saying that, I don't want to burden you with knowing what department's doing what. Just tell me where the area is, and then that's kind of our job, to figure out which department's applicable to cut the grass, but we all want the grass cut. And then Councilman Lewis's point, like, this is a great example of another department that's sometimes utilizing GOMO, sometimes we do it in-house, but this is great. So when in doubt, let us know where the area is, and we'll go from there.
All right. Thank you so much. All right, let's move to page 191. Anything on 191? Warren, I'm assuming that roundabout I talked about earlier is part of GOMO, and you're going to put that in the list?
It's being cut this afternoon.
You are great. Now, that's what I'm talking about.
I was watching.
You was watching?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, good for you. Cool deal. I don't call too many departments for many requests, but when I do call, I do appreciate the fast approach. Councilman Nakam, page 191, you got a question?
Operation Spruce Up, Mr. Abity, could you kind of give me an overview of that?
Yes, we entered into contract with a company that does soft concrete washing that we've had very good success with. They actually cleaned the Vermilion Street garage. They are currently in the process of cleaning the federal courthouse, not the federal courthouse, the 15 JDC courthouse downtown. And they also cleaned Park International. And so there is a lot of, they cleaned a few underpasses last year. There's a lot of concrete that has the black, the mold and the dirt growing on it that we are planning on use that money to soft wash some concrete areas just to make things look better.
That was a very good answer. I think that's a very worthwhile project. Thank you.
Thank you.
I had a question, Warren.
Sure.
On 2605-224-69040, contractual service Camellia Greenbelt, what is that?
That was money to cut the Camellia Greenbelt is the section of Camellia from Johnson Street to the river.
Okay, so you're saying Barnabas and that.
Yeah, and so in previous budgets, they contract that area out, and the count just stayed, so that we use that money to cut the Camellia section.
Okay, so that does not cover the actual Camellia Bridge? And the reason why I'm asking is I just recently got a request about pressure washing the bridge, and then there's also graffiti on there. Does that cover that? Is that budgeted? Do you normally budget pressure washing?
We could cover that within our budget. That's no problem.
Okay.
Just send through the request. Yeah, that's.
Perfect.
We could use the spruce up money that we talked about a minute ago to handle that.
All right, perfect. Thank you.
Okay. Anything on 191? Moving to 192. 192. Okay. Not seeing anything on 192. Let's go to 193. 193. 194. Oh, sorry. Councilman Lazard.
Warren, I'm just going to back up to the top of 192, if I may. What is a Mardi Gras expense in kind?
That was overtime associated with the operation of cleaning up after Mardi Gras. That's what that account has been used for.
We gonna Mardi Gras this year? What we doing? I know you can't say that. I'm just joking. So, Mr. Lazard, you got the question answered, or no?
No Mardi Gras last year, right? We didn't.
There was no Mardi Gras last year.
I'll get back to you on that one.
Okay.
Okay. Councilwoman Saber.
Warren, while we're looking at traffic engineering, is this where traffic lights would be?
So the section that handles traffic signals is 5930, traffic signal maintenance, bottom of 193.
We're basically there. I know we have a lot of the newer lights that are at the pole to the pole, as opposed to the
Mass
ones that are like string lights, and I'm sure there's a much more technical term for that. But do we budget to ever replace those to the posts rather than the strings?
So we typically would budget rewiring if it had old wires. We've never budgeted, it's not, that's a bad idea, but we just never would. It's a good idea to budget to replace a signal, but historically, it's not something that we did. A lot of time, the state would come in, because we maintain signals for the state. It gets to the point where they're unmaintainable. So we send a request, and they would come in and put the new style mass arms, is what you're talking about.
The mass arm?
Mass arms is the arm that comes out.
Got it. And
Span wire is the wire.
Got it. No, I mean, traffic lights are even on city roads. Is the state in charge of the ones on city roads too, or do we maintain those and replace them?
So we would maintain, yeah, we maintain those. If we got to the point where we felt like one was unmaintainable, we would come in and ask for funds to get it taken care of.
Okay. What if it was maintainable, we just wanted to change it to be more aesthetically pleasing for the area?
Yeah, we've never requested that, but that is something that we could absolutely do.
We could budget?
We could budget.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. Councilwoman Nanette Cook, you have the floor.
Yes, Warren, I have a question. Have we budgeted in here any more of those blinking, like speeding signal lights?
The driver feedback signs?
Yeah.
Red flags? What?
Don't you dare say
I
those
didn't say
words.
that word.
I was just checking. Whoa, music to my...
Now you're upsetting the mayor.
No, the ones, yeah, the
So in
driver.
in the proposed capital budget, there is none in there that we requested.
Okay, 'cause-
That would have to be added.
Now, I know we have 2 on West Bayou. Did we have 2 more? Because I had requested 1 on East Bayou, but I'm not sure if we had to put that in the budget, or was that not, did we have another one?
We may have to go back and look. I'm not 100% sure.
Okay.
That may have been when COVID first started, there was some shifting around of capital money that we may have given. I'll have to look.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
I guess my question is too, do you find they're useful? I mean, are they?
I believe they are. I believe they are useful for alerting drivers how fast they're traveling. So if I am not opposed to using this as a tool at certain select roadways that I think are good candidates.
So if we agreed on a good roads, can I request one? Do I put that in the budget now, or do I you and I talk later and we see if there's in there?
So no matter what happens, we'll have to have a capital line item for that item.
Okay, so I would have to put it in there?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I'll get back to you.
Okay.
Madam President, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a reminder, council members, as my colleagues here, if you have a request, I always try 100% to make sure your request is filled. As you can see in the budget, most of your requests were fulfilled. First time I'm hearing of some of these, but that's okay. Things just kind of pop up. So if you're thinking about it and you think of something that will help our community, just let me know, and I will direct my director to do all he can to do it.
That sounds really great. I have a list after the meeting. Me too. All right, let's move forward, people. Page 194. 194. Anything on 194? Seeing nothing on 194, let's go to 195. 195. Seeing nothing on 195, let's go to 196. Talk to me about the Buchanan Garage.
It's currently under construction to be repaired, and
I got that. The line item goes from 3,000 to 13,000. What are we doing? Utilities?
yeah, so we anticipated opening this next budget year
I got you.
to pay the utilities.
Y'all ever come up with a set parking price yet?
It's currently the current rate of what it is. It's $1 an hour in the garages. That's right.
Okay. Administration, would y'all plan to do anything with the rates, or I want to get this on the record? Say that again?
No, that is no, the rates are not changing, no.
Okay.
Times aren't changing.
All right.
Times aren't changing.
Dollar amounts?
Nope.
Okay, just making sure. Councilman Lazar.
Warren, talking about garages, what about Vermillion? I know we had that was some money that was set aside for Vermillion to do some cleaning, and, you know, there was some real problems with, and I think I had mentioned this when we spoke, about like metal frames around the doorways and everything, corrosion, whatever the case may be. Where are we with that project with Vermillion?
So some of those issues had to do with the, how outdated and old the elevators were in the Vermillion Street garage. Those elevators, replacement is currently under construction right now. That project is managed by Public Works. They could probably provide a better timeline than I could. So a lot of those issues with that, can't say for sure now, but we believe that it may be under budget enough to where we could do some LED lighting upgrades.
Yeah.
We had the exterior soft wash. There's no doubt the interior also needs to be soft washed. A lot of the steel needs to be repainted. But besides that Vermillion Street garage is in really good shape.
Yeah.
The structure itself.
Some specific issues with some of the stairways, right? That stripping that's on the stairways, that's loose and coming apart or whatever?
Gotcha.
Or is that on the radar?
Well, I'll check on that. I'll let you know.
And the metal around some of the door frames.
Yeah.
It's really bad.
So all the door frames and doors do need to be replaced, and we're in conversations about that now. I'll have to check on the stairway pads.
Okay.
Okay. All right. We're done with operating. Let's move to 5-year capital, pages 282, starting there. Madam President, you have the floor?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just want to remind the council members if,
You need something? Make sure to let you know?
Yeah, if you have any requests, please just let the administration know, the mayor president or the CAO, and we will do all that we can to make sure that I direct my director to fulfill your requests. As evidenced by the budget, we did fulfill most of your requests. Thank you.
Taking out a full ad.
I can,
On page
282.
On page 282, we're looking at number 1, number 6, number 9, and number 14.
1, 6, 9, 14.
Yes, I'm looking to see if Veronica agrees with me, but, okay.
On that bridge repair on 14 parish-wide, are you saying that we're going to budget an additional 200,000 and you have 654 left, or you went through all of that?
No, we're budgeting an additional 200,000.
Okay. All right, anything on 282? Let's go to 287.
On page 287, going back to 282, that was parish-wide. 287 would be citywide.
Okay.
We're looking at number 3, 6, 32, 38, 39, and 45.
Okay. Any questions on 3, 6, 32, 38, 39, 45? Going once. Going twice. Rolling to 290. What numbers we got there on
On
290?
288.
Sorry, I'm yeah, my
Jumping
bad.
ahead a little bit, but on number 288, there's only 2 projects, number 56 and 85. And once again, these are city capital.
Saybear, you got the floor?
yes, sir. For number 85, do say sidewalks. Which side of the road is it on Duce?
Let me check on that and get back to you. I don't want to answer wrong.
Perfect. And also a timeline, if you have it, and what stage it's in. I think it's, and what does MTC mean?
Match.
Oh, so it's a match for?
That's a match to federal money, yes.
Okay. Yeah, let me know which side of the road it's on and a timeline, please.
Gotcha.
Thank you.
Okay. Councilman Lewis.
Yes, one on the tree removal, that's, I think, 56. That's just in public right-of-ways, or how the tree removal?
No, that is a general capital account we get every year. that facilitates us getting trees removed that need to be removed. And it's 100% in right-of-way, in city right-of-way,
Okay, thank you.
not private property.
Okay.
Speaking of tree trimming, I don't know if it's on this page or not. What do we have for when we have calls on some state highways in the unincorporated area where we're getting complaints that trucks, their stacks are getting, we have a budget line item for parish-wide tree cutting, tree trimming?
Yes. Yeah, there's a couple different line items in the budget that cover trees.
Okay,
And we have in-house crews, and we have an Asplin crew that also helps us trim trees.
okay,
And so
gotcha.
if you have any issues like that, let us know. We'll check it out and trim them up.
My colleague Joseph Gordon-Wills does a great job for my district, so he'll send a request out. Thank you, Joseph. Got you on the payroll, man. All right, let's go to page 289.
On page 289, it's number 91.
That was easy. All right, and I'm assuming that's an additional 95 from the balance that's left over? Okay. All right, now I can go to page 290.
290,
None
it's
again.
number 155.
Say that again?
155.
Oh, 150.
Vermillion Garage.
I'm not seeing anything on that. Let's go to the Capitol, 312. Capitol. Okay, let's go to page 313, Capitol. Okay, next page. Anything on 314? Seeing none, let's go to Manning Tables, page 338, 340. Anything on 338? You have some promotional costs as well?
Yes,
Okay,
and most of it is the apprenticeship program.
gotcha. 339? $340. Okay, not seeing anything. Closing remarks?
No, I'm good. Just happy to be here. Happy to work for the citizens of the city and the parish and the great council.
All right, great answer. Hey, there you go. There you go. Hey, man. Hey,
Oh, and the administration.
get a Snickers. I can't eat that. Take notes, Chad and the rest. That's a great comment right there. Appreciate it very much. Noted. Any public comments?
No, sir.
Let's roll. Next one, Public Works. Public Works Capital Projects, the one and only Chad Newbo.
On Public Works, you have the same chart from budgeting in front of you. You'll see a decrease as due to the transfer of transit and parking that went to traffic roads and bridges. We do have two housekeeping items in, that's listed as number 6 and number 7. If you like, when we go to that page, I'll go over those and ask you to take these up, hopefully as general amendments.
Any opening remarks? Introduce yourself. Tell me about the great things happening in District 2. Go ahead.
All right, good afternoon.
No, he didn't say nothing nice.
Yeah, Chad Naveau, Director of Public Works. Certainly happy to be here. Thank Warren for answering all my questions today. And we look forward to answering your questions. So I have to say, I know we got accolades from John earlier on myself and Brian and Warren, but I can't help but to extend my gratitude to the staff of Public Works and, of course, working together with Brian and Warren, even their staffs also. We have a very talented group, and I have the utmost confidence that as ambitious as we are looking forward to being within our capital program, we have the right people on staff to take the challenge, and I owe them a great debt to them because they've, again, propped me and Brian and Warren up. So, I thank them for all their continued hard work.
Okay. All right, let's start on page 166. Mayor President.
Hey, thank you so much. Look, before Chad starts, I want to tell y'all how dedicated this man is. He's on annual leave right now, so y'all be kind to him. And he came all the way over here for budget. But I also echo his sentiments for all of our wonderful employees. I think all the council members will share in that sentiment. So thank you to these three departments, but all our departments, all our wonderful staff at LCG, and just, been through a lot this last year. Couldn't have this success without you. And just know you're always in our thoughts and prayers, and we appreciate you. But thank you for coming in for your annual leave.
Yeah, well, it's the greatest council, we've ever had, so I wouldn't want to miss that.
Yes, yes. Here we go.
It's an old line.
I threw him my cracker, whatever it's called. The other one. All right, bottom of 166. Bottom of 166, anybody? Not seeing anything. Let's go to 167. 167. Not seeing anything. Let's move on to 168. 168. Not seeing anything. 169. Page 169. 170.
On page 170, the administration would like to add a line item for city building maintenance, just general city building cleaning and maintenance line item. That would be a line item that's not allocated in the city parish allocation. And we're not asking for much. We're asking for $28,475. So that would be on page 170. We would create an account called, numbered 101-5142, account number 60052-0, and it would be titled Building Maintenance City Buildings, and it would be $28,475. And like I said, it's for miscellaneous cleaning and stuff of city-only buildings.
We got you. Councilman Knocking has the floor. You offer that amendment.
I'd like to offer that as a general amendment.
Thank you very much.
And I'll second it.
I object.
Oh, okay, we have a objection
So,
by
well,
Councilwoman
not necessarily an
Adair.
objection, but more or less a question before I'm not just going to object for no reason, but I guess explain city maintenance. You said city hall maintenance?
No, not City Hall.
Okay.
City Hall is a shared building.
Right.
This would be for a building that strictly is owned 100% by the city and not allocated, because it wouldn't be improper for us to allocate those costs to the parish. And we don't have a whole lot of those, that's why it's not a lot of money, but anything going on at a shared building would be different. So this would not be a shared building, if I'm correct.
But which buildings? Which,
Just
and
in
what-
general, probably, I would say.
well,
cleaning
I
up.
don't know which ones are, it's like as I'm asking the questions, is which buildings are city-owned buildings and what maintenance needs to be done. I guess I'd wrap up, I can get that, or before wrap up, that way, I mean, because I'd just
Yeah.
like to know. Thank you.
Okay, so, what?
Okay, yeah, it looked like y'all didn't know, so I was going to just say at wrap up, you can give that to me.
And you may still want us to after this answer, but it's, when you're talking about maintenance, it's hard to pinpoint a specific building, just like it's on grass, we think we know. But this, correct me if I'm wrong, from our CFO, the perimeter would be, it'd have to be city building. You couldn't use it, so for example, our fire department buildings, something that's purely city-owned. And I can rattle off a few more if you
City fire
want.
department, there's an
Please.
unexpected maintenance item or unexpected soft wash, that's the first time I heard
Vermilion
that.
parking
For a
garage.
city fire department, maybe a city rec building, maybe a city, some other city building. It's just, we became aware as we are intimately looking at allocations that it could be an occasion where it's not a shared building.
So it may not be a specific building, it may be many buildings.
Yeah, if we knew exactly what
Right.
buildings it were, we'd probably put it like under the fire department or something. But that, things have come up in the past year that
Look.
require attention.
I'll make it easy. The bottom line, it's a line item for city buildings only. You don't know a name, don't have anything, you can get it back to her for wrap up, but basically you putting a pile of money in a line item in case you need to go repair something or clean something.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine, just like I said, at wrap up, that's fine, didn't need to be a big discussion. Just give it to me then.
So to be a separate amendment, but you'd like additional information for wrap-up?
Perfect.
Ma'am.
Thank you.
Noted, Ms. Williams?
It's a separate amendment, and you're requesting by wrap-up the name of the buildings and the type of building maintenance that's required.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. We'll go ahead and, we're still the bottom of 171. Let's go to 172. Not seeing a 172, let's go to 173. 173. Ms. Cook, 173, go ahead.
I just have a question about the scope of what the janitorial services and supplies comes into play in relationship to this additional line item. Like, those services that each one of these buildings, are they cleaning the buildings too?
Which line item are you referring?
There's several of them referring to janitorial services and supplies. We can take 267-5147-6600-1, the War Memorial Building.
Right.
So I'm not looking at the number so much as I just wanted some clarification of what does that involve?
Janitorial services, I'm not sure if Thomasina's in here. Kearney might be able to help me along. But that would be strictly indoor janitorial services, janitorial supplies, the trash, emptying the trash bags, consumables for the bathrooms, stuff like that.
So not necessarily maintenance then?
No, it's not maintenance or washing a building or painting, doing some waterproof, miscellaneous little waterproofing projects. It's not any of that.
Which is more,
Toilet paper and stuff like that.
more which is what the 28,000 we're looking at to do. That's what you're looking for more for that.
That would be different.
I was just trying to determine the difference.
Yeah, the 28,000, if my memory serves me right, it was more building maintenance, like to stop something from deteriorating. Not a full-on repair or capital outlay, but certainly to maintain clean outside of probably mainly outside of a building.
Okay, all right. I just was trying to get the distinction between the two. Thank you.
Okay, I'm on 173. 173. Going once. Not going to 172, 173. All right, got her. Ms. Cook, you on the line.
I have a question about the vehicles, on 173, just in general, the department. I know we've talked about this, we are reducing the fleet, is that correct?
Ms. Sidra, you have the floor.
In general, the department.
It's
Am I
on.
up? Cool. So Chad will correct me in any component where I misspeak, but yes, thanks to you kind of started this last year. We've really been digging into the overall fleet of all of our city parish vehicles and how they're being utilized. We've identified that there are a number of times where we could be sharing and pooling vehicles in particular. We are going to be launching are we calling it a steering committee? A steering committee to really see the overall fleet and ensure that vehicles are being utilized to their fullest, retired when they should be, the management, the maintenance, and all of that is being done. And furthermore, we are working right now on launching a program even before this fiscal year ends to kind of devise our own sort of kiosk where employees would go. And so we will be reducing the number of vehicles that are provided and exclusively an asset of a particular division when they maybe only use it like once a week, once a month. So as an example, we'll have a pool of vehicles that will be used by all employees at City Hall. There won't just be a vehicle that's specifically assigned to Adam's gone, so I can say civil service or HR, accounting. You'll basically walk up to a kiosk, employees will check out a vehicle. It'll be a smart app kind of thing, so it'll put those vehicles into rotation. So we're grateful that you kind of started that because it really got us thinking about how we could better utilize our fleet and reduce it in the long run.
LCG Enterprise, right? So it's called.
That's kind of where we're going with it, yeah.
Yeah, gotcha.
I didn't want to name any one particular company, but yes.
I got you.
Okay, thank you. I like what you're doing with it, so thanks.
All right. Mr. Lazard on page 173.
Well, this is kind of a segue to the conversation that just happened, and that's question, so.
Okay.
And sometime last year, the issue came up about tracking, right? Where vehicles were at a given time, what have you. And I know the comment was made that that wasn't financially feasible or something to do that. Does that tie into what the question Annette just raised? And
that wasn't really where we were going with it, to be
understand.
honest with you. I know that is something that was implemented in the past. It was quite expensive, not fully utilized. It was determined that it wasn't worth the return on investment. However, it is the thought that through our LCG Enterprise, we'll call it, that there would be a check-in, check-out process that would include what's the mileage on your vehicle when you get back. So if we know you're going to the bank and you've clocked 15 miles on it, perhaps you might have gone somewhere you shouldn't have been. So there's a component of it too, as well as the monitoring the gas and things like that.
But we're saying it's not.
But not a GPS.
But we're saying that's not feasible, is what we're saying?
It is my understanding that in the past, and really kind of when I came on board, that was being phased out, that it was quite expensive to do GPS on all the vehicles. And for the regular fleet, excluding public safety vehicles, of course, but for the regular fleet, it didn't quite have the return on investment that it needed. But there was a reason that it was implemented in the past, but it was since deemed not an overall benefit.
Okay.
I didn't want to.
$174. Again, let's try to stick to the script and ask questions on line items based on page 174. Not that these are not good subjects or good topics, but we have people here that need to get through and we got things to do. Let's try to ask a question per line item, get the question or answer we need, or make a change. I'll get Ms. Cook. I probably should have got you to stick to the page so we can move along. He's on his annual leave, and I know he's chomping at the bit to leave.
He was looking to put his bathing suit back on.
He got his candies ready to roll. All right. Anything on 174? Nothing. 175. Any questions or anything on 175?
I would like to suggest an amendment. We'd like to add some additional funding under environmental quality.
What line item?
Line item number, it's under administration personnel costs, it's count number 5505170, 70500-0 telecommunications.
Oh, I have that on 178, I believe, Chad.
Is it on
I
178?
think so, but
You
I
said
could be wrong.
5505-174, then 70500 telecommunications for 1,500? Or-
Yeah. Is that the right spot?
That would be amendment number 7. Is that the right spot, Ms. Toops?
No, I don't think so. It should be on page 178,
Yeah, we
that
want it under
amendment.
composting.
I apologize, I'm a little early.
It's all right. I'm on 178, now I done skipped up, so I'm joking. 176. 176.
I'll be skipping around.
I have something for that page also. Again, it's environmental quality, we want to increase contractual services, and that's account number 5505171, 70907-0 contractual services. We want to increase 125,000. And this is for the cutting of grass through the EQ's enforcement of the grass ordinances.
Okay, so this on 176?
This is on 176.
Towards the bottom, 5505172-70907- contractual services. Previous projected was 4,300, you want to increase that to what?
No, this is 5171, contractual services.
At the top, 5171.
Yes, top
Yep.
half.
Okay, where it says 194,
Budget of 194,
you want to
That
increase?
is correct.
What's the total you want to increase it to?
319.
Yes, 125,000 additional.
Okay, and that's an amendment you're offering, or that you want?
That's what we need.
That's what you need?
And he's going rogue on me, so I didn't know he's going to do that. So that's not on your list.
Apologize.
But we'll just call that number 11 on the sheet.
Uh-huh,
We'll write it up and call it number 11.
okay. And is that allocation parish, 100%, what is it?
That is environmental quality, so that is, that is city and parish. It's not just one or the other.
Okay, so where would that money come from, our parish side, general fund?
No, it's going to come from the EQ fund. They usually generate enough money from the trash pickup and the admin fee to pay for the grass cutting.
So if
so-
you're good with that, because you win awards, is it going to hurt my budget, or we good?
It's not going to hurt your general fund, no.
Okay,
You got all
I'm
that
good.
money this year. You're doing so great.
ma'am, your mic is off when you cut your mic off. Okay,
Got all that money.
parish guy want to offer that amendment on our side, you good? Huh?
Gentlemen.
I'll go ahead and, Mr. Lewis, you hit your mic, you don't,
Yeah, I'll offer that general amendment.
we have a general amendment? Any objections?
Thank you.
Seeing none? Mr. Naveau, you can give us another nice comment, because it just went in.
Thank you very much, Mr. Lewis.
Excuse me? The whole council,
The whole
sir?
council, thank you very much. And
All right.
EQ,
Took the
thank
whole
you very much.
council to get that. Mr. Lewis just hit his button, he was being proper, appreciate it. All right. Now, 177, you have anything on 177? Okay. I don't see any questions or any comments, so 178, go ahead and tell us that other amendment you need.
On 178, it's on your sheet called Amendment Number 7. Somehow or another, we did not account for internet at the waste composting facility, so they would like to adjust that amount. We currently have budgeted in that account
$800?
$800, and we would like to add $1,500 for a revised total of $2,300.
Anybody want to offer to hit your button?
And that is in the environmental quality absorbed by the funds in that fund.
Offer that as a general amendment.
Got a general amendment offered by Councilman Andy Nakam. Not seeing any objections. That goes in as a general amendment. Your wish is granted, sir.
Thank you, council.
You got it. Now we're going to move on to five-year capital. Pages 282 and 283 is where we'll start. 282. What numbers?
Number 2, 3, 4, 19, 24, 31, 40, 41, and 42.
Numbers one more time, Dean.
Say it again, Ms. V.
2, 3, and 4, 19, 24, 30, 31, 40, 41, and 42.
And all of those numbers and everything they're calling out is on that other form that they have given us too, so. Okay, any questions on 282? Okay, 283?
Items 59 and 63. Just those two items, 59 and 63.
Okay, not seeing anything on 283 or any questions. Let's go to 287.
Only two items, number 9 and number 44. 9 and 44.
Ms. Hebert, page 287, you have a question?
Yep, I think I may need to be asking something. The mayor's looking at it. Something that we discussed whenever he, Chad, and Brian all came on site with me to a neighborhood that has constant draining issues. One of the things we talked about were adding more of the, I don't know what you would call them, litter catchers, the big litter net catchers, and we said that was something that we were going to do. Never quite got it. I didn't see it in the budget, so.
Yes, ma'am. Josh Guillory, Lafayette Mayor President. Nanette Cook is my city council representative, and John Gilbo is my parish council. Okay, so I literally was working on this.
Yeah.
Thank you, Council,
Yeah.
Madam Chair. So we are going to fund them through cooling maintenance or secondary drainage in the current budget. So we don't have to have a line item, although if we need a budget amendment either through 2021 or 21-22, we'll go to the council for consideration. And I was literally just typing, but come talk to me because there may be an issue of restricting flow of water, but Brian is working on it. I believe there's a gentleman out of Georgia. Georgia that could come in and design them, but especially on cooling mean, restricting the flow is kind of a concern, which everybody has. But we're committed to catching them. And for everybody listening, is to catch the litter before it hits the coulee or the river. So, thank you.
All right, so not this budget. We're thinking, not this current budget. We think we're going to fit it in on this budget if there's no other unforeseen issues.
Right now, we can currently fund it through the 2021 budget under those two line items. But if it's more than that, then I'll come to the council.
All right, perfect. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay. 288. $88.
288. There are 5 items, 58 and 59, 60, 61, and 69. 58, 59, 60, 61, and 69.
Councilman Hebert?
Number 59, for a wrap-up, can I get, I know we have, this is the overlay program, correct?
That is correct.
And I know that whenever you first came on, we talked about how we were a little delayed, like a year behind, and you were working to get us caught up. Are
Right.
we caught up
We
on
are
this
caught
year's overlay?
We are caught up, and all the 2021 budgeted funds are under construction currently, and certainly will be done by the end of the year.
Wonderful.
So obviously, this is next fiscal year, so we'll get started in November as soon as the budget's approved and moving those projects expeditiously as we can.
Wonderful. Well, kudos to getting caught up on that. I know we were lagging, I guess, a year or two behind, so kudos to your team.
Thank you.
I'd love to, I would love to see this number increased so we can get more roads overlaid. I don't know what my request for wrap-up necessarily would be, other than,
Find the funding.
could we increase the funding? I tell you what. I'd like to increase the proposed amount by,
What number?
I know, I guess I'm trying to pull a number out of thin air, because I would love to see more of the roads.
So let me remind you that we budget all of the funds that we're expected to have in Fund 401. So any increases in any of the Fund 401 line items would require corresponding decreases. And this is in the city.
That's true, too. Okay.
Fund 401.
Okay.
So you'd have to look at those and.
That's true.
Oh, sorry. So, Madam Chair, also, if you could, I do appreciate this. I think we all agree we can do more overlay if we can.
Yeah.
If you could, look at all the budgets that were proposed and look at each line item and see if that satisfies your request. If not, let's talk one off and maybe we can find a way.
Yeah, you and I have a meeting set, so.
Perfect. Good.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilwoman, Ms. Cook, you have the floor. 288?
Yeah.
You sure? If it's not
It's close.
288,
It's
I'm not
about
rolling.
overlays. We were just talking about it. I just have a question about evaluating. I mean, I know we have a list and we've been working from a list. How often are streets like, evaluated in terms of, ratings to move up on the list?
Yeah, so every other year, we do a condition rating.
Every other year?
Every other year, and what happens is, that's how we set our priorities on what type of, method of treatment, or if, something going to be reconstructed, our rating system will tell us, what we need to do to get the roads back up to par. We've been using preservation methods for a few years now, and it's proven to be very effective. It's cost-effective also. So we look through the list, and we allocate the funds to those roads that are in most need, reconstructions, and then the same thing with preservation. We find the roads that are best benefit from those methods also.
Okay. I have about 10 more questions. Just kidding. I'm done. That's all I needed.
I don't doubt that, but 289. 289? What number?
Those numbers are 96, 97, 99, 113, 115, 116, 127, and 128. 96, 97, 99, 113, 115, 116, 127, and 128.
Okay. Any questions on 289? 289? Go to page 290.
290, there are only 3 projects, 152, 175, and 177. 152, 175, and 177.
$290. Any questions? Okay. Go to 291.
291, there are about 12, 180, number 180, 181, 183 and 184, 196 and 197, 198, 200, 206, 216, 218, and 219.
Okay. Any questions on those on 291? 291. Mr. Lazard? 291, you hit your button?
I'm on 294. I'm just joking, go ahead.
Too fast.
I'm good. Motion to move forward.
187, Louisiana Avenue Extension. Can you give us some update on that? Are we?
Wait,
187,
291?
291, number 187,
But that's-
Louisiana Avenue Extension,
that's-
Phase 2D.
That's not a part of the
Oh,
list.
that's not on this list?
Nuh-uh.
Oh, no.
It's
Oh,
not
it's
on,
coming.
it's not on the list.
On
On the
the
list, we're listing where we have new money.
Right, okay, yeah. My bad. I'll get back to it.
Okay. Anything else on 291?
I'm good.
Not seeing anything. Let's go to capital, starting on 308. 308? $308. Not seeing anything on 308. 309. Anything on 309? Not seeing anybody hit the button on 309. Let's go to 310. Not seeing anything on 310. 311. Seeing none, let's go to Manning tables, 335 through 337. 335. $336. $337. $337. On once, going twice. Sir, any wrap-up comments?
No, I'm looking forward to, again, trying to move all these projects we have funded forward, and it was certainly a nice afternoon visiting with you guys, and may even classify as a vacation due to the easy questions. So I appreciate that.
There you go. All right, well, thank you for your time. Any public comment coming from this department?
No, sir?
You have a good day, sir.
Thank you.
Let's now get to legal department. Ms. Toops, kick it off. Will be 126 is where we'll begin.
You have the chart in front of you from the Budget Division, and you'll see that we are adding 2 people. In this, it's an ombudsman and a pretrial diversion coordinator. Mr. Logan could tell you about that. We do have a correction or a title change in the Manning table when we get to it that we would like to propose as amendment number 8 on your list.
Okay. Introduce yourself, talk to us.
Hi, Gregory Logan, City Parish Attorney. Today, the changes that we're requesting is a ombudsman for the court system. This was originally requested of the district court and the district attorney, and the sheriff is also in favor. This person will be someone to work through the court system with the jail, and for instance, go into the jail, review the inmates, and find an inmate that has been there and should get credit for time served. Then he would work directly with the court system, get a space in the docket, hopefully that day, and get that inmate over there, plead them for time served, and get them out of jail. Same thing with city court. So it was first brought to us by Judge Castle, and both the district attorney and sheriff are in favor of it. The sheriff's department is working on a search committee trying to find that person. So it would be under the legal department is where the position would be created.
Okay. Cool deal. All right. Page 126, anything? 126, Mr. Lazard, you have the floor. Is it pertaining to 126?
It may. You started it.
126.
Lori, what is the, should have asked this at the beginning of the process, really, but what is the cost allocation that we're using this year for the joint departments?
For the city prosecutor, so there's different allocations across the board.
I'm talking about just city parish attorneys. Are we
City
there?
parish, the city parish attorney would be separate from the city prosecutor, right?
Okay.
So the city parish attorney's office,
So we're doing, I just see legal department, we're not doing city prosecutor now. Are we doing legal department or city prosecutor now?
City prosecutor's under the legal department, so we're all
oh,
together.
I'm sorry. Guess we're doing both.
So the legal department is 79% city, 21% parish. The legal department is 79% city, 21% parish, the allocation. The city prosecutor's office is 100% city.
Yeah. But right now, we're doing legal department, or are they both intertwined?
They're intertwined.
They're intertwined.
But we can do it however you'd like.
Yeah, the legal department is the top of the page.
Right, that's where I'm at.
I
yeah.
missed it, yep.
Yeah, that's
You're
where I'm
right.
at. Mhm. So that was my, that was my first question. The other one was, are you going to chime in? Okay. The person, we're not on personnel yet, or is it all together? Well, we'll get to personnel out. Okay. Next thing I do with personnel. Bear with me for just a second. Okay, I'll come back when we get to that section.
Okay. Anybody else on 126? Ms.
One-
Cook.
126, yeah, I just have a question, if I could ask this for wrap-up. If we could get a dollar amount that's spent for legal from the city side, it's the 7921. If we could get a current, where we are right now from the dollar amount that is spent on city, by the city, and I know that.
We've been working on a system for that since I took office, and it is quite a challenge. We have hired a separate company to help us do a database, and it's very difficult. So we're working on it. It looks like it's about 85% city, 15% parish, because of the public records request. So the public records requests are exorbitant. For instance, a simple one, a car accident the city's not involved in, but our police respond. We get requests for body camera footage and the vehicle footage. If 4 officers respond, they have to watch that in real time. Our attorneys and paralegals have to watch that in real time and redact any reference to any minor. It could be nothing criminal. It could just be a car accident. So we're spending $12,000 to $20,000 a month dealing with those requests. It's absurd. So the city police respond to accidents in the city, so that's what's making the allocation. It's, like I say, it's roughly 80-20. Realistically, I think it's about 85 to 87% city.
Okay, so when you get that documentation, I guess if you could.
We won't have it for wrap-up.
We won't have it for wrap-up, okay.
There's no way.
Okay, I just
many
was,
moving
yeah,
parts.
just curious. I mean, I know the old argument, the city is in the parish as well, so it's, I guess the allocation formula I still have trouble with, but, I get what you're saying in terms of the numbers. Majority is in the city, but the city is in the parish as well, so, but yeah,
Understood.
okay. I don't know when we'll get those numbers,
We're
but as
working
soon
on
as,
it.
as soon as,
It's a
yes.
system, it's a system that we're developing and working
Okay.
on.
Yeah, that's fine. As soon as you can share that with us would be great.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Mr. Mayor President.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Hey, look, I love that discussion, love that dialogue, and I know how hard Greg and his team is working with that program and software to be more accountable. I do agree the cities in the parish, just know that in this context, it's a little different, as you know, with the different entities, especially in certain litigations, but just want to remind everybody watching. Thank you.
All right, not seeing anything on 126. Anything else? There's no capital. Go to manning tables, 331. Anything on 331?
Yes, on page 331, under the city prosecutor, we have a position titled Senior Paralegal Aide, and we're asking for that title to be changed to Administrative Assistant.
Councilman Nakam.
I'll offer that as a general amendment.
I have a general amendment offered. Any objections? Going once, going twice. Going in as a general amendment. Anything else? 331? Not seeing anything. Thank you for your time. Any public comment? Well, Mr. Lazard.
This is where I get to ask my question about personnel?
Manning table, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, just want to make, I'm trying to find the line item so I can, just some notes I'd made. I'm trying to find the line item.
Time is up. Thank you for, no, I'm just joking. Go ahead.
I know you are. The personnel budget, I can't find the line item, but some notes I took. Do we see the line item for personnel? I don't know if it's,
So were you noticing the increase
Yeah,
in the
exactly.
budgeted amounts?
Yeah,
So
from-
if you look on page 331, if you look at the total, I see exactly what you were looking at
Yeah.
on the general ledger side, but on the Manning table side, you'll see where the salaries, if you look at that little rectangular title, is going from 188 to 308. So you're wanting to see what the differences are.
and
If
what's
you-
causing
Right.
the increase.
And so
right.
if you just kind of eyeball it down from there, you'll see the first line item is a new line item, the ombudsman, where there was no budgeted current salary or projected salary, but there's $65,000 for next year. So that's a new position, and we're estimating the salary not to exceed $65,000. And then there would be corresponding insurance and benefits that go along with that. And then if you scroll down the page a little bit more, you'll see another item that has a 0 in the current budget and a 0 in the projected, and a $55,000, so that would be the pretrial diversion coordinator. So there are two new positions which cause those numbers to increase dramatically, especially for such a small section to begin with.
Right, okay. That's the
I believe
difference.
that's what you were looking at.
Exactly. Thank you, Laura. That's the difference. That answers it.
All right, Ms. Cook?
I just need it. What is an ombudsman? I mean, I'm looking at that. It's not, he says it's somebody who drinks Bud, but that's not it, so.
It would be like, in this context, that person was requested by the court system. That's what I was explaining earlier. It would be someone that works between the jail, the district attorney, and the court system to try and get inmates that are in the parish jail out. So they either missed a court date or they've been in there for 20 days on a charge that only requires a 10-day sentence. So that person then works with the court system and finds what judge is on a criminal track, works with that judge and slips them in other words, gets them to accept their sentence and move out. So
So it helps with the
It helps,
yeah.
it helps speed up the process so that
Right.
with the parish as a whole is
And
not
we didn't
getting
have
hit for
anybody
all of
doing
those
that.
mandates because they sitting in the jail waiting
the
on
last person I
somebody to see.
remember doing it was Ronnie Cox, 35 years ago as a
Wow.
judge. He would
Okay.
go over there and do it.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay,
and
I just-
while they're in jail, we're paying not only those
Right.
mandate
Yep.
fees, but if they're on meds, we're paying all that stuff. If they need to go to the dentist, we're paying that.
No, it's a good thing.
This
I
is
just
gonna
didn't
help.
know what it was, so
Right.
thank you.
That's a good thing. It's going to help move things forward. Okay, I don't see anything else. Any public comment?
No, sir.
All right, Lori, I have to ask you, do you want a 5-minute break? Do you need to use the restroom or you want to keep rolling?
See if everyone's okay? You're good?
Thank you very much.
Oh,
Thank
we'd
you.
like to take a break.
You want to take a break? Mm-hmm. All right, take a 5-minute recess. We'll be back on the clock.
Thank you.
Quite welcome. Show's back on the road. I'd like to welcome you to our afternoon budget review. We'd like to call up the wonderful finance department at this time. Ms. Laurie, you have some opening comments.
I do. You have your chart here prepared by the budget department. You can see that we have an increase in the finance department by one position, and that would be in accounting, and that would be for a grant accountant, which, you know, we don't do the same thing as the grants people in CD. It's more on the accounting side of it. Some of our managers are all listening virtually, and we have some of our assistants here. But rather than call them all up, since some of them are virtual, I don't want to embarrass anybody, so we'll just, you know, I thanked them earlier this morning. I have a great team here at Lafayette. They do a great job. I've worked at 2 other governments before I came to Lafayette, consolidated government, and I must say that we have the best finance department in the state of Louisiana, probably in the region.
Well, there you go. There you go. All right.
It's an award-winning.
There you go. Award-winning. That's right. You came on at the same time I was elected.
I came on in 2011.
That's when I was in the seats.
There you go.
I started with you in 12. I was watching you in 11, running, and you know, 12. What I was trying to say is, are we going back? Any chance the parish has some bond ratings or something we can do like we used to do? You know.
So yeah, well, we got some refundings coming up. I'm not sure if we have any on the parish level, but certainly any opportunity to save money and refinance our debt, we definitely keep an eye out on
Awesome,
that.
no doubt. All right, we're going to start on page 130. Anybody? 130. Any questions for the CFO? 130. Not seeing any. 131. 131. 131. Gone. 132. 132. 132. Gone. 133. Page 133. One 34. 134. Go to page 135. 135. Seeing none, 136. 136. Seeing none, 137. Page 137. Seeing none, page 138, 138. One 139. 139. Seeing none, 140. Page 140. 140. All right. Seeing none, let's go to Capital 304. Seeing none, manning table 331 and 332. Any questions on 331? $332. None on 332. Any closing comments, remarks?
No, thank you very much. I appreciate your consideration of our budget. Sometimes at this point in the game, I'm more familiar with other departments' budgets than my own, but they really didn't have a lot of changes in there, so we appreciate your consideration.
You're welcome. Any public comment?
No, sir.
All right, thank you, Finance Department. Thank you, staff. We will now move to the President's office, and that is Mayor Josh President. Not the, oh, that's you. Oh, all right. Ms. Laurie Tubes, give me some comments right here, opening comments.
You have the same bar chart from the Budget Department for the Mayor President's office as you did for all the other departments. And you'll see no change in the number of personnel.
Okay. All right. State your name for the official record. Any opening comments?
Robert Benoit with the mayor's office. Really no opening comments. Our budget is pretty much status quo. If you look at it, it's a minor, has a reduction of 32.74%. The majority of that is the create money, but the rest of it has a reduction as well, and we have a reduction in our salaries and benefits as well.
Okay. Who's taking a salary cut?
Well, we did some recent adjustments in the office, and some of the new people we hired weren't making as much as the people that left.
Gotcha. Okay, we're on page 116. 116, any questions? My bad. Ms. Liz Hebert, you have the floor.
What is the reserve directors?
That is, every director has a reserve for capital outlay needs. I'm looking, it looks like that, did we zero out the boss's capital? Director's reserve? No, we didn't. Okay, thank goodness. That is, that's a reserve all the directors have for unexpected capital needs during the year. Most of them run around 7,000 or less. There's a few that might be more than that, maybe recreation and utilities.
Mm-hmm. Okay, because I'm seeing that actual for this is before you, we budgeted about 3,800. You haven't spent any money. Are you anticipating spending more?
That is another one.
That's another one like
the salaries. We're not going to spend it from there, but we may move it out of there to a capital and then spend it from that capital line item.
Got it. That makes sense. You said that to me earlier.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Anything else on 116? Nope. Let's go to 117. Seeing none, no capital. Manning table 329. Any questions on 329? $329. Seeing none. Closing comments?
Not really, just thank both councils for having these hearings. I don't know how y'all feel. I love the one-day thing. I think it works best for everybody, particularly those that like you guys have to show up from your jobs. I love the format personally. I hope we continue it.
Cool, thank you. Ed, one
y'all.
question. Are you still with the animal control?
Yes, I still supervise the supervisor of animal control. That is correct.
You need a dog?
Councilman Joseph and I are having some issues.
Are we talking about animal control? Are we on that line?
All of that stuff is done. I let y'all do what y'all gotta do. He made his comment. I'm gonna hit him with a question. I got a pig problem. Find out about them pigs. They tearing them the neighborhood. If not, I'm gonna have we'll have a little butchery. I'm gonna cook them up. I wanna know if I'll get in trouble with the law or the sheriff if I have to kill them pigs.
Well,
so
just
we got
like-
an animal control center. You might have to get a zoo.
Just like with your roundabout grass cutting, when Warren is getting it cut by the end of the day, I think those pigs were picked up today.
They were. Thank you so much.
I will confirm that and let
Do
you
we
know
do we
tomorrow.
have an owner or there was wild pigs?
We have to get a warrant, because when we showed up, they were back in the confines where they were supposed to be.
Okay.
But Shelley's getting a warrant, and we're gonna go pick them up.
But I guess what I'm asking is, it was somebody else's
Feral
pigs
pig
that
or
just got
personal
out, or was wild?
No, it was somebody's pigs that got out, is my understanding.
Okay, yeah, it
We
was
could
like
talk
4
about-
days in a row, like 6 or 7 of them tearing up neighborhoods and just.
Yeah,
What
it
y'all
was a
doing in the
mess.
parish?
We'll talk pigs next week.
We can bring the pigs in the city.
Where's the cochon de lait?
I can pin them up downtown or something.
I think
Thank you, Robert.
Thank y'all very much, both councils.
Any public comment?
No, sir.
I mean, I do have an annual pig couchon in my camp, but I don't want to take this guy's pigs. I need to find out if he had supported me in my campaign. I'm joking.
Oh, Jesus.
All right, we're gonna move right along to the CAO's office. Ms. Toops, any opening comments?
You can take a look at the graph from the Budget Department and see the history of the CAO's office, and there is no change in the number of positions in this office.
Okay. Ms. Sidra, you want to go ahead and say anything, or you want me to roll right along?
Well, I'm following suit. I'd like to thank the councils. Thank you so much. You're the best councils ever.
Hey, you can have my glasses.
I never got any candy. No,
Brian ate it. He's diabetic. He need to pick his sugar up.
nope. I'm just here to answer any questions. I don't think there's much that you'll have a question about.
All right, 117, anybody? CAO's office, 117. I'm not seeing any dramatic numbers or any big changes, so I'm done on 117 unless somebody else has something. Not seeing anything. Let's go to page 118. 118. Nothing on 118? Okay. 119. $120. $120. $120. See nothing. 121. $122.
I have some corrections on page 122.
Okay.
And Budget and myself take total responsibility for this. We, somehow or another, when we were moving around expenses for the mailroom, we omitted some expenses. We know that the mail guy has to go from building to building to deliver mail, or the gal, and they got to drive from building to building delivering mail. we took away all of their fuel. So amongst other expenses in the department, so I would like to propose, and these expenses were previously in the department, but when we moved, in the section, but when we moved this section, we had a little data mishap. So there's a couple of accounts I would like to reinstate, all on page 122. They all start with 101, 1218, 101, 1218. The first one I would like to add back is uniforms, account number 50800 for $180.
And council members, you have this in the form of the amendments page, so you can follow along.
Right, number 9 on there, so I'll go faster, right, I forgot you had it in front of you. Account number for postage and shipping charges, the mailroom does need postage, and we would like to reinstate $1,810 for postage. For duplicating equipment expenses, we would like to reinstate $152. For telecommunications, we actually thought Jamie was going to pay us, but he has not agreed to that. So we would like to amend that budget. It has a negative 137. We would like to amend that budget by $387 for a total of $250. Transportation, we would like to reinstate that for $5,500. And supplies and materials, we would like to reinstate that for $1,881. And I'd like to publicly tell Mr. Argel, this was not personal, it was an accident.
All right, Councilman Nakhan's got the floor, and he'll say he's going to offer that.
I'd like to offer that as a general amendment.
He is so fast on that.
Yes, sir. I'm not seeing any objections. Oh, AB, you have an objection? Oh, okay. No, it goes in as a general amendment.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Not a problem. Okay. I'm not seeing anything else on 122. Capital is on page 304. 304. Any questions on 304, capital? .304. Seeing none, moving to manning tables 329. 329, starting on page 329. $330. $331. Page 331, Manning table. Seeing none. Any closing comments? Miss, oh wait, go ahead.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, any public comments?
No, sir.
Okay, we're going to move right along. We'll handle the council's office. At this time, Ms. Laurie Toops, any open comments, or should I hand that over to Ms. Williams?
Well, I'll just point you to our standard chart that we have provided for you. There is no change in the number of personnel in this department or division.
All right, let's go to page, Ms. Williams, you want to open up? You want to talk? Want to say something?
Oh, I have to say how great you all are. No, I do want to thank you guys, but I do want to thank the staff. I have a phenomenal staff. We do have a new staffer now. She's doing a great job, and she fits in perfectly. So I just want to thank the staff, because I could not do it with all the challenges that we've had. The staff has really stepped up, staying after hours by, with COVID requirements and procedures. Those who don't even stay after hours, they volunteer to stay after hours. So I just want to say how much I appreciate the staff, and I thank you all for your support.
Quite welcome. On behalf of all of us, I will say that the staff has been great to all of the council members, and we appreciate all the hard work and all the phone calls y'all have to handle, and sometimes the irate constituents and crazy times, but appreciate what you do, and Special token on my behalf to Joseph. He does a great job, and I appreciate all the hard work he does. My constituents, they love him, and he does a great job getting with the directors, and so job well done. Thank you. Appreciate you. Okay, pages 104. 104. Anything on 104?
I see where contractual services, I noted that it was cut by 35%, and I wasn't aware of it until I see it now in the budget. But I would ask that it be put back, because we are, right now, which is not even in the 27,000, we have the LDC that was just amended. To codify that is $12,000. So, and we haven't even sent it through yet, because you guys just approved the new amendment, which is, I think, like 400 pages. So I was just trying, so why was that cut?
Your mic's.
I'm sorry, which line was that again?
That's contractual
It was
services.
$25,000?
No,
27. It was 27.9.
I think we,
10111.
if I'm not mistaken, we redirected that to the American Rescue Plan dollars, because we put $25,000 in for the American Rescue Plan to digitize all of the old books.
But that was not in this line item already. The original line item was 27.9, and as you can see in 1920, we used 20,000, almost 21,000 of those monies. So those are the regular monies, right?
Look at the bottom of the page, Sidra, it's 101-1100-70907, contractual services.
What page number? I'm sorry?
104.
Yeah. So you see in 1920, we used 21,000.
We still have the CAO slide up. You might
Oh,
want to
okay,
change
I'm
it.
sorry.
So Kearney's looking at,
What page again?
104.
104, no wonder.
104, it's about 6 from the bottom of the page, Sidra.
So the one that's reduced by $10,000?
Yes, ma'am.
I don't recall.
I don't recall it either.
That-
Kearney,
And I didn't ask that it be reduced. In fact, for the budget this year, we had to move money because we had another LDC, or
Right.
UDC, I mean, remember, we had to
Yeah, we
move
talked
money
about
to it, because that one was $15,000. But I just asked that we reinstate it back to the 27.9,
Yeah, no.
because we're going to fall short.
No problem. Councilman Knocking has the floor. He'll go ahead and say he's going to offer that
I'd like to
amendment
offer a general amendment, but to add $10,000 to that line item.
to restore it back to the original.
To the 27.9.
Yeah.
Correct.
Not seeing
And
it.
also in that line item, you know, we do, is the Wi-Fi, the new cost for the Wi-Fi services for the auditorium. So in spite of me putting it back at the level, we already have some new increases to that line item. But I'll try to work with the existing line item.
and V, we'll have to research that, because nobody has any record of it being decreased.
Right.
So we need to make sure there's no glitch somewhere.
Okay.
But for it to be an even 10,000, kind of, we're going to research it.
Okay, thank you. But
Go ahead.
And probably for the fiber services, V, we probably need to put that in telecommunications.
okay. Oh, I did. I just left I'm sorry, you're right.
Okay.
You are correct.
Okay.
So I did leave telecommunications as is, as is.
Sorry, we have the general amendment followed by Councilman Andy Nakhan to restore contractual services back to 27.9, adding 10,000 to that line item. Went in with a general amendment, no objections. Moving forward, page 105.
Also in the operating budget, I had requested the digitizing of the old books in the vault from the 1800 because the ink is disappearing. And I did receive quotes on that, and I had put that in the original budget. I heard that they put it, and I forgive me because I didn't review the ARPA budget, but I heard that they put it in the American Rescue budget. I had put for the parish 12,500 and the city 12,500. And I don't know if the ARPA budget has to be COVID-related or whatnot, but, and I have the quote ready to go. I just fear if we wait 6 months or so for it, that the price is going to increase, and we do need to get those books digitized as quickly as possible.
Okay, duly noted. I have a couple of council members that hit their mic. Mr. Lazard?
Yes, Lori, how are the personnel, operating costs of the clerk's office? How is it apportioned between the city and parish?
So that can be found on page 55 through 57 of your budget book. The administrative section of the council's office is allocated 79% to the city and 21% to the parish, and that is based on non-dedicated tax revenues. And then we have separate sections that are 100% city and 100% parish. We added those new ones last year. But V's office, her employees, is the 79-21.
Can you explain that and how we arrive at that? Now, are you
So-
talking personnel costs, or are you talking?
It would be personnel, it would be all the O&M expenses in Veronica's office that's not directly attributable just to the city or just to the parish. So her copy machine, for example, she doesn't have to track how many copies are just for the city or just for the parish. That's allocated 79-21, and it's based on non-dedicated tax revenue. That was the allocation that was selected years ago, and this administration hasn't made any changes to it. Which will update the information that goes into the allocation. So if it was 80-20 last year because revenues were different, and now it's 79-21, the only change is the revenues that came in and not the actual allocation. The allocation method has remained unchanged for quite a number of years.
You can go ahead, Liz, and I'll come back. Maybe it'll clear up itself. You can go. I'll come back.
Ms. Saber?
Okay, I'd like to offer a general amendment to add the project from the council budget for $12,500 for the city for digitization of the minute books starting from the 1800s in the vault.
So on the city side, that is capital money. We would need a corresponding reduction in Fund 401, or would need to find the revenues elsewhere. But that is, I think, logistically a capital line item because it has a long-term life. So since we've budgeted all of that fund, we would need a corresponding reduction.
And I get that it's in the American funds, but I have concern that I don't know how you tie digitizing minute books starting from the 1800s to COVID. And hold on, the mayor and Sidra buzzed in, so there you go.
Yeah, thank you. Our appreciation of the ARPA funds, American Rescue Plan Act. There are two restrictive prohibitions expressly written in law. One of those restrictions have been deemed unconstitutional. That leaves us with one. That means if you're expressly prohibited by law, you can't do it, as many of you guys know. So that has not been expressly prohibited by law. But again, I lean on our council for that, and if I'm wrong, by all means, they will tell us. But that being said, one possible solution, so you don't have to address it in 401, because Lori's correct, you take away from one, or you add one, you got to take away from another. Why don't you do it in Fund 101? We amend ARPA 3 weeks from now, right? Yeah, we could do that. Or pass ARPA as is, and we can amend it later. But that might be one way to get through this. So instead of pulling from 401 capital, do 101. It's not that big of a hit.
Happy
Just a
to do so.
suggestion.
And I'll add, as far to your comment related to COVID related, anything from our perspective, anything that reduces contact would be permissible. And so we proposed a number of items in the ARPA budget that would be related to reducing contact. And so not only would it reduce contact, but we actually really think this is a super valuable project, and because it would make these documents available potentially to the public from the comfort of their own home. So not only would they not be going into the vault, having human contact, but also, they could easily have access. So we don't have a preference. We actually thought it was a great project and a very applicable one in this instance, but we'll follow your lead.
No, that's a great point, as it does, I now see, since you've explained it, that it does make sense for reducive contact. I'm going to leave it up to you, Veronica. This is your request and something that you wanted to do, so it's up to you.
I'll point out that the ARPA budget amendment, maybe if you guys agree and get together, whatever you're going to do on it, you have more control in getting that in place sooner rather than this. This won't be in place till November 1st.
You took the words out of my mouth. I was going to say, maybe we wait till the ARPA budget passes or you amend it.
And
then we
that's
can
my thing
address.
too. It just depends on when you guys are going to do the ARPA, but I know that, the quote is good and they're ready to pick up the books. But if you think ARPA is going to be approved relatively quickly, I'm good with it. If, it's up to you guys.
Let's keep it with ARPA now for now, because I think the reasoning makes sense, Sidra, and then for whatever reason, if we find out it's not, we can always make a budget amendment and add you in there ASAP.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
With that comment, the only concern I have about doing that is if somebody on this council ain't happy with that budget and you don't want to approve it because you want to wait for confirmation from the federal government on what it approves and don't,
Yeah, it leaves it
then
hanging.
you're behind the 8 ball. So I'm gonna put your mic on. I just, that's the one concern I have is because if everybody's on the same page, to Veronica's point, if we get to that meeting and some people say, no, I don't want to approve it because this is that, and you get into, well, let's defer it.
Yeah.
Meantime, we're running into a problem. So unless somebody is good with what the administration proposed and then it can go through. But if somebody's going to hit the button and start, well, I want to move this out of here, move this out of here, I'm just saying from past experience, it could happen. And so my concern is let's get it done this way, because you do not have a guarantee of that budget being approved as is. Somebody's going to want to cut the pie, somebody's going to want to move stuff over here, and I think it's going to get
That was my thing, is whether or not it would be left in limbo. As is with the budget, on November 1st, I could have them here ready to go and ready to pick up the books.
Could we,
Still not to November, but it could be.
offer it for this current budget?
Can you do it for this current budget?
The one we're in now?
The one we're in now? It's
It would-
$12,000 now. Can you do it from this budget and leave next year's budget and the ARPA stuff alone?
So we'd have to find the money in this year's budget and do a budget amendment. You'd have to approve it. I do believe it is properly a capital item, which requires approval by you. So it would have to be through a budget amendment.
Would it be a joint? Because does the parish need to follow with the same amendment?
Right, because the number of minute books from the police jury and the parish council and the former city council, it's almost about the same number of minute books that need to be digitized.
Correct. So
it's 12.5 from the parish and then 12.5 from the city. And I did get 2 quotes, and they both came in about the same.
So let's bring both of those options up for wrap-up. That would be my suggestion.
Okay?
And figure out which way is the right way to go. Okay?
Well, we're going to lean on y'all to tell us what you want to do.
I'm going to lean on y'all to give me the information on if we want to take it from this current budget, where you want to pull it from for both councils, so we know if that's the route we want to go.
Well, then it'll probably end up coming from your general funds, if you're okay with that. That's really the only source I could think of. They've been sitting there since the 1800s, so do we have to rush into it to do it in the next couple of months, or could it wait a few months, till we get all the ARPA stuff ironed out? I don't know that they've been sitting back there for over 100 years, if another couple of months is going to make a difference.
Yeah, well, just find the money, find out, get back with us on the parish side if we have 12.5 of the current budget.
If not, I could just present an ordinance in this fiscal year, like she said, to take it out the general fund. But
Yeah,
we could wait.
That's
and-
it, the general
Yeah.
fund, there's no other place.
Okay, so you're withdrawing this general amendment, correct?
So it's no general amendment or no wrap-up item. We'll just wait to see what happens with the ARPA funds. And if need be, I could present an ordinance to appropriate the funds in this fiscal year.
Sounds good.
Okay,
And we'll
thank
help
you.
you with the budget amendment if we need to.
Okay, thank you, Lori.
Ms. Cook?
Thank you. I'm still back on the allocation for the council office. Tell me 7921, and that's what it's based on?
Based on non-dedicated tax revenue.
Okay, and that means, I mean, we have 5 city council, 5 parish council. We have the same secretaries doing the same thing for each of the councils. I'm still confused as to how.
Well, it's an allocation. Remember, you use an allocation because you don't have a perfect formula. You don't have a direct a charge, so you allocate it. The allocation is used because it's not going to be exact, so it's an allocation. Perhaps somebody could count the ordinances that have gone through the city versus gone through the parish and see if the number of ordinances equates to that percentage. You may see that the city has 90% of the ordinances that go, or resolutions that go through the council. So you can look at a number of things, but at the end of the day, this is the allocation that the administration has chosen to propose based on the size of the 2 different governments, and it's the non-dedicated revenue. Now, at the end of the year, all those people with dedicated revenues do come back and reimburse the city general fund and the parish general fund a portion of those expenses. So at the end of the day, you do get quite a substantial reimbursement. I don't have that schedule with me, but it's several $1 million that the city general fund gets back from the parish library, the parish drainage fund, the parish public health fund. So on top of that allocation, you're just looking at one little part. There's a whole nother piece that you're not looking at, and that's the reimbursements from all those dedicated funds that you get. You get over, the city general fund gets over $500,000 from the parish-wide public library. So to reimburse for accounting and finance and purchasing and council's office and those things. So just looking at the city parish allocation and trying to run with that, you're looking at 40% of the picture. You're not looking at the whole thing.
So how do I get the whole picture? Is there a way to get the numbers that you're talking about?
I mean, it's all in the budget book. It does take some degree of effort and thought, and I certainly can help you. I did prepare a schedule that shows the amounts of reimbursements that you get back from the other funds, and we can certainly provide that to Veronica so you can kind of, it might help if you see it on a piece of paper.
Very much so, okay.
So you'll see at the end of the day, well, at the beginning of the year, we allocated $79.21. But during the year, all these other funds do come back and pay us. And when they pay us back, when the library pays us back, 79%, they're thereabouts, 79, most of the money is going to go to the city general fund because the city general fund paid most of the expenses. So it gets sent back to the general funds based on what those general funds paid.
It gets paid in the back end,
It gets paid on the back end.
which you're looking at the front end.
Right. So at the end of the day, what was 79.21 with the reimbursements back, it may not be 79.21 is what you're telling me? Because we get some of that money back?
We're looking at it in
Maybe
total.
50-50 or-
So it's not going to be 50-50. The city is much larger. The city is always going to have more expenses in the finance department because we're always going to issue more purchase orders for the city. The parish doesn't have as much money, so they're not issuing as many purchase orders. So at the end of the day, the city is going to pay more. It's not going to be 50-50. The city has more employees. The city has over 50% of the employees in this budget are city-only employees. So if that's the case, then why should, the HR department be split 50-50? That would be, you'd be making the parish pay for city liabilities. So it's not perfect. It's an allocation.
And that's, look, I'm not questioning it to that extent. What you're telling me is there's reimbursement coming back, and if you could send me that list, send us all that, just so we maybe see at the end of the day, it's, the allocation formulas are not so 79.21 by the time the reimbursements come. So
right. Now, the reimbursements won't be separated by each little division because we'd never be able to get there. But the reimbursements that the city general fund gets totals $5.4 million in reimbursements from those dedicated funds, because we're not using those dedicated funds in the allocation, but we are using them in the reimbursements. And out of that, the parish general fund only gets $650,000. So the majority, the larger part of the reimbursements, I don't have the percentage, but 5.4 million goes to the city and 650 go to the parish.
Which would make sense that the city gets more because we're
'Cause
putting
they
in more
pay
on the
more.
front end.
Mhm.
Okay, all right, thanks. That, if you could send that, that would be helpful.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Ms. Lazard.
So I'm gonna limit this to the clerk's office because that's the subject matter we're on now. Not gonna talk about hogs, dogs, or nothing else. So for purposes of the clerk's office, okay? We're using a 79, and I understand we have to use some formula, okay?
Got to use something.
So my question is, how do we arrive at that on the front end? How do we determine that that's the proper calculation to use without no measurement?
So that is the mayor president has the privilege of presenting to you a proposed budget. This is the method that he is proposing to you in the proposed budget. It's the method that's been in there for several years. It is that we are not saying it's a perfect allocation. We're not saying that it's 100% accurate. We're telling you it's an estimate. It's an accounting estimate. It's an allocation. I can't prove that. I can't give you anything else.
Based on prior years, whatever?
It's based on non-dedicated tax revenue.
If I may, Lori scheduled a call with me and the allocation consultant, I guess last year, was that last year? And I found it incredibly helpful to speak to him because he's the one who helped, I'm going to say this wrong, but probably helped Lori come up with this, right?
Well, no.
Or helps up with the suggestions.
The mayor president and the administration will develop whatever criteria we're going to measure it by.
Yes.
You know, we try to choose something that we can't manipulate. We can't manipulate undedicated tax revenue. It is what it is. So we use those measurements. The cost consultant helps us use that in the formula, in doing the calculations, because there's different methods in which somebody who specializes in that applies those.
Right,
those
but I guess I was
theories.
going to offer for him to schedule a meeting with the allocation consultant.
Absolutely.
So he can ask them the questions.
Well, actually, when the Protect the City Committee had their meeting, and they had the video conference with the cost with the company that does that, right? So I was here present for that. But they don't determine the allocation. They just work with the numbers that are given to them. They don't actually determine the allocation. So I'm still perplexed as to how we come up with that formula.
When I was here under Joy Durrell's administration, he sent down a budget with what he thought was the allocation process. Then we hired a consultant, and they came in, studied the whole budget process, and they came up with their allocation process. Council at the time voted as a whole, the company that came in and gave the allocation process, so that's how it started. Then Joe Robideau's administration came in and looked at some other line items, and they turned around and they did their own reorganization of the allocation based upon what made sense. And that has remained in here, and it's never been changed.
Right, and we have consulted with the consultants to say, is this a valid calculation? Does it make sense that we use undedicated tax revenue? And they said, yes, it was a valid method.
Because you don't have any general fund. There's no way you can reimburse 5.6 million from the parish general fund.
Well, you need to have a valid method. You can't, you don't want to just make up some arbitrary
Number.
allocation method. That's not what we have done as an administration. Now, when you talk to the auditors will tell you, you have a city council and a parish council, as long as they agree on what the allocation method is, the auditor doesn't care what the consultant says. But for us to come here and feel like we are coming to you in good faith, when we sit down and look at it, we're going to ask the cost consultant, is this valid? I have asked the cost, I'll give you the one example that I can remember where the cost consultant told me absolutely not. is when the Durrell administration came in and wanted to do everything by population, and they said absolutely not. The finance department cannot be done by population because the finance department is as busy as the money that government has to spend. And so they had always insisted that the finance department should be allocated based on total budgets, city budget versus parish budget, because that is a measure of what we do. That was really the only time they told me that the recommended method that they did not agree with. And so that year, the administration changed their proposed budget and didn't propose for finance to be by population, but it did propose everything else to be by population because it was considered acceptable for whatever measurement that was being measured, whatever division was being measured.
And I understand that with each administration, it changes.
It can change.
Well,
It doesn't have to,
no,
but it
apparently
can.
it has with each administration.
In the proposed budget?
Right. Let me, for whatever reason, it's apparently changes with each administration depending on what their philosophy is, I guess, for lack of better terminology.
Exactly.
Right. So, but just, I'm like Nanette right now. I'm still, because the clerk's office to me seems to be, I guess, more cut and dried in some of the other departments. And I understand that Jeremy might spend a little bit more time doing city ordinances than he does parish ordinances, you know, or whatever the
As
case.
an FYI, Jeremy is listening to it, so he hurry up. He gave me the numbers from last year, and the parish had 82 ordinances. He ran in 82 ordinances, and the city had 112. So that's about a 45-55.
Oh, well.
So, you know, yeah, I mean, so it's still, I mean, that's my point, right? So it's perplexing to me because, like I said, that, you know, they basically, all the employees, they're basically apportioned 50-50, if you will, or close to it in terms of, you know, like Nanette said, we have a full-time city secretary, a fulltime parish secretary. I don't
That's
know
just
about
ordinances, though. That's not request for services. That's not.
No, I understand that. I just use that as an example, Kevin.
Yeah, that's one unit of
I
measure.
understand it's not the whole thing.
Right.
I understand that fully and completely. But still, I'm saying that it just seems to be way out of whack to me. Based on.
That is the proposal from the administration. You two councils agree on something else? It is something else.
Okay, well.
I would be curious how many minutes we spend in the council's office of parish meetings versus city meetings.
All day long. But I'm not trying to poke the bear or try to start stuff, but we'll let that side continue. Go ahead.
But no, it's okay.
You can go ahead.
No, I'm fine. I'm good.
My whole point about this is when you make comments like that, you're not getting nowhere because you don't have all the numbers, you don't have all the facts. Well, obviously picking at the 7921, she just told you got reimbursed overall the back end of the year for 5.6 million. I'm pretty sure that covers the office. Let me finish. So you
get hours based on how much you put in.
well, and my point is, you don't know how many hours and how much it's costing the council staff when they're staying till 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, when you have 40 ordinances, okay? Like, there's not, you can't measure just on one thing. So for wrap up, you gotta look at the whole picture. I understand that, but we're spending money. We're on page 104, 105, and we're talking about allocation, and we're harping on the same thing that the committees talked about and everything else. If it's gonna go down that road, I think it should be handled in a different way and a different approach, okay? That's all I'm trying to say. Not one of these council members right here has said anything questioning the allocation and trying to put what the city does versus what the parish does. It's starting that way because you're going down that road. So I'm just telling you, you can continue down that road. I'm not playing in that game. You can continue down that road. I'm not participating in that contest. So what I'm trying to say is, if you want to bring it up for wrap up, it's legitimate what you got. Dig through everything from meetings to ordinances to the request for services, everything that every staff does, and then you look at what that is, and then come back at the end of the year and see what you're getting reimbursed. And at that point, if you think you're getting screwed, then let's address it. That's all I'm trying to say.
And the only thing I'm saying is, I have the right to question the staff as to how they come up with that allocation, that proportionate formula. Don't I have the right to do that?
You have the right to do that, sir. It's the way you're making it a city versus parish argument and the allocation. And I'm not saying that you're not right for wanting to know that. It's just, it's coming across with the comments, oh, this is, I mean, we going back and forth.
No, that's not what that's the way you interpreted it.
Well, I'm sorry if I interpreted wrong. I do respect you. I understand that. I would ask professionally that if that's what you want to bring up for wrap up, I'm in all full support, but I would ask that everything, if we're going to nitpick it, it has to go across the board.
I don't think I'm nitpicking it.
Okay, that's fine. Ms. Abery, you have the floor.
So I agree with both of you. There's certainly a way to go about this, but I also understand where you're coming from, Councilman Lazard. I was going to make a suggestion, is that this may be a good learning experience for all of us, is that finding out what the parameters are, right? And let's maybe use council office as an example, right? Like Jeremy was able to pull up how many ordinances. You know, let's try and find as many metrics as possible that make up this allocation table. And then we meet with Lori and say, is there any other allocation information we need? That way we can learn. And you may learn that that's exactly what it should be. We may learn it's changing by 3 points or 50-50. We don't know that, but I think there's nothing wrong with going through the process and asking the questions, and council department could be a great place to start. So Lori, in order for that to be done, let's meet after this, because it's almost 4 o'clock, I'm happy to help with that, is finding out what information helped us get to that split, that 80-20 split, and then we can go from there, if that works. But you and I can get separately on that.
Sure.
All right, thanks.
Councilman Taylor, you have the floor.
I'm a stickler for tracking things, and that's the only way you're going to find out the value or anything. And I will make a suggestion that it may take a little bit more time, but I've done this in different jobs and different positions. As you work on something, you get your little log, how much time you spent on hours on the city versus hours on the parish. On everything you do, it's cumbersome as a person. You're going to write down, you log down every day what you do. You do that for maybe a month, and you just kind of see where that falls as far as the percentages. That's one suggestion I would say you could do, and see where that falls out. And that ends, that's, you know, as long as you're pretty accurate on your everybody, Joseph, everybody on what their, you know, their time, it's cumbersome. Every time you finish something, you got to write how much time you spent on it. That's the only way you're going to measure it, in my opinion. So.
Okay. All right. Page.
And one more thing, just to add for Lori, on the digitizing, I know we had talked about the budgets, you and Sidra and I, and adding the budget documents in. So, you know, maybe in the future, should the item be funded, we can include the budget documents as well into, because we've had requests for previous old budgets, but they're not digital. So we'll look at that as well.
You have budgets and audits, right?
Yes, I have the budget documents from 1980.
You don't have the audits?
I do, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think we should do it all.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. All right, page 106. (106). Not seeing anything on 106. Let's go to 107. 107. Anything on 107? Okay. Seeing none. Capital, I would like to request a general amendment to add 21,000 in the budget for the council car, and if and when the new kiosk enterprise system could be set up, we could, at that point, merge with the program. The vehicle that we have is basically not in use. It's hard to use because it's a CG.
CNG tank.
CNG.
And then the car as well is, they usually replace them at 10 years, but mine is like 12 years. I didn't ask in year 10, I didn't ask in year 11, but it's 12 years old.
Yeah. So I'll.
And I will gladly merge it with the new program once it comes into play as a pool vehicle.
Okay.
So we need another side to that entry. We need to know the funding source for the vehicle. If it is going to be city capital outlay, we'll need a corresponding reduction in Fund 401. If you're going to split it between the two general funds, we need to know how you want to do it.
Yeah, we're going to split that. And that.
I'm going to agree to, on the city side, to go ahead and split that, so that.
And how are you going to split that? And where from? I'm imagining the general funds.
We're pulling that from each general.
General fund, fine.
And do you going to want to just stick with the one allocation formula until you settle
Yes, until
on
we could
something else?
determine.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah,
So we'll do the 7921
yes, ma'am.
from the general funds.
Yeah, just make sure to note that when the kiosk system's set up, then we don't have a problem with putting that car
Putting that
into that
car in
system
there.
and following what administration wants to do.
Thank you.
I think we can make that work.
Okay. That's a general amendment being offered. Any objections? Seeing none. Okay. Manning Table 327. Anything on 327? Okay. Seeing none, Ms. Williams, any public comment?
No, I just thank you guys for the support, and again, I thank the staff.
Okay, thank you so much. All right, moving on to the last one for the day. City Marshal, Ms. Toops, any opening comments? Page 108.
City Marshal's office, there is no additional staff in this budget. And you have, once again, the line chart provided by the Budget Department. I do believe the administration would like to propose a change in this budget. So when we go through it, we'll talk about the change.
Okay. Mr. Marshall, how you doing, sir? Any opening comments or anything you want to say?
Yes, I'm the last one, so everybody should have a smile on their face, and I think I should go right through. City Marshal's office has 24 employees, and, we work really hard. Looking at the budget, is not many changes in this budget. This budget remains the same throughout the years. That's all I have.
Okay. Okay, Council, 108. Anything on 108?
I believe the administration would like to.
Mayor President?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Marshall, thank you for all that you do, and I talked to your chief earlier. I appreciate the teamwork with the PD and the Sheriff's Department. Community policing is going, I think, just perfect, and a lot of that's due to your leadership, so thank you. Also, you and I discussed, I would offer to the councils for consideration amendment number 10. We have, and Lori, make sure I do this correctly, personnel salaries. We are including 2% pay raise for our commissioned officers in PD and our firefighters. I would like to include the deputy deputy marshals who are commissioned as well, to be included that, so that, and it's in front of you under Amendment 10, that would be 10111315000 personnel salaries. It would be an increase of, correct me if I'm wrong, 1,200,000, nope,
No, it'd be an increase of
23,000.
23,317.
All right. What?
1 million.
Everybody's eyes got big.
Along with the corresponding benefits that go along with
There we
that.
go. Thank you. So that would be 101113150,500 retirement Medicare tax, and that would be an increase of 5,045. We don't have to read the whole thing? That's what we do. Okay. So you can do that on the microphone in front of everybody on AOC. Just call me out like that. So
And we
those
need-
four
we would
items
need a
under
general
Amendment 10.
amendment.
Those, okay. Councilman Lewis?
I'd like to make that general amendment.
Okay. Councilman Lewis like to make that general amendment. Not seeing any objections. Okay. Go in as a general amendment. All right. Page 109, anything? 109.
It's just the top of 109.
Yep. Not seeing anything from the council. We'll go to Capital 303. Capital 303. I'm not seeing anything. Manning table, 328. $328. Okay. I don't see anything, Marsh. If you, Marshal Reggie Thomas, you got any closing comments or?
Well, I do thank you, all y'all, for your time and consideration. And I know it's been a long day, so I'm gonna let everybody go. Have a great day. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, sir. Any public comment? All righty. All right, everyone is invited to a public hearing for citizen input on the budget on any matter related to the budget, which will be held on Tuesday, August 17th at 5:15 p.m. during special joint council meeting. The next department budget reviews are scheduled for August the 5th at 9 a.m. to hear the following city-only departments: LUS, LUS Communications, LUS Fiber, Capital Projects, LPPA, Fire Police, Parks and Recreation, Fire and Police Civil Service, and the Cajun Dome. I would like to thank everyone for their time, thank all of the departments, thank the council staff, thank the fellow council members for hanging around all day. Meeting adjourned.
Wait, I'd like to say one more thing, if I might.
All right.
This list helped us facilitate and move fast through changes. So if you do have changes or something you want us to work on ahead of time, we can make another list for the next meeting. Please feel free to contact me, copy Kearney, and that's what we're here for, to help you and facilitate the budget process. So we're happy to help you all with that.
Okay. Thank you. Meeting adjourned.